The strongest dull prince's secret battle for the throne. I don't care about the throne, but since I don't want to die, I think I will make my little brother the emperor. Volume 11. By Tamba. Translated by Graverubber TL. Audiobook by Masquerade at Masquerade Audiobooks. Arc 40. Chapter 425. Killing Intent. I never thought that you would manage to convince Terisanyu. I was surprised. The night after Traunison's marriage was approved, Finn was telling me what she did. It was all thanks to Mitsubasama's advice. I don't like how everything went according to Mother's expectation, but let me say that I am thankful that it all worked out in the end. But you can't say that everything went the way you want, sir. I nod to Sebas. Although I am guaranteed a certain degree of freedom to move as I pleased under Traunison, I was also appointed a prime minister of a country. In the Dominion's weakened state, the Imperial Army will stay to defend the Dominion for a while. The Empire will come in and change the Dominion's military and domestic affairs, but its internal affairs will be left entirely in my hands. In terms of time frame, I should be able to return to the Empire when the Imperial Army withdraws from the country. By then, I have to unite all of the Dominion's national power under Traunison and unify the Dominion. Well, I will be acting as an acting prime minister. Once I lay the groundwork to make it easier for Traunison to rule, I can come back to the Empire. It's not really a bad deal. Until then, I will take care of the Imperial capital. Finn showed her enthusiasm and made a fist. However, I'm sorry to say this after you get so enthusiastic about that, but I will be taking you with me to the Dominion. What? Without me, the Imperial capital is dangerous. More importantly, I can't put on an incompetent act there like I did here. Everyone will focus their attention on me. That's why I need a collaborator who understands me to pull off the secret maneuvers. However, there has to be a reason to bring me along. I can make up as many reasons as I like. Or do you not want to go? No. If I will not get in the way, then, by all means. Then it's decided. But there is still one thing I have to do before going to the Dominion. Saying so, I signaled Sebas with my eyes. Immediately realized what I wanted, he took out a folded piece of paper from his pocket and presented it to me. The investigation is finished, sir. Good work. What is that, Ulsama? Locations of Grimoire's bases in the Empire. Many details were written inside Zandaranyu's journal. That included the locations of their bases and the identity of their executives that she knew of. Some bases were already abandoned, but the important bases seemed to be hard to relocate and still remain in the Empire. The fact that they still operate inside the Empire, even though they have completely abandoned the Dominion, means that they are still planning something here. The Brave mentioned that the succession war may have been on the palm of someone else and that the imperial family might be under attack. The consorts seemed to be targeted, and through them, the princes and princesses were influenced in some way. The most prominent case is that of the fifth consort Zuzan and Zandaranyu. Zandaranyu herself told me that there were clear traces of Grimoire's involvements before things began to change. Until now, my impression of them was one of a criminal organization that tried to kidnap Letitia, but it seems that this is going deeper than I thought. If the imperial family is truly under attack, then Grimoire is certainly involved. However, it is probably impossible with Grimoire alone. They must have an insider. My plan is to lure that insider out by going to the Dominion and start an investigation on the Crown Prince's death. But we would still have to deal with Grimoire first. Beginning with the rebellion at the capital, their movements have become more active. They are too dangerous to be left alone. Besides, there is something else. I have to pay them back for looking down on me, you see. The images of Zandaranyu and Gordonanyu's last moments crossed my mind. If their madness were caused by someone else, then as their younger brother, it is something unforgivable. Your killing intent is leaking out, sir. My bad. When I noticed, Sebas had already taken Finn a distance away from me. It seems that for a brief moment I failed to control my emotions. It is fine in front of Finsama and me, but please do be careful in front of others, sir. Right. For my mental stability as well. I want to crush them as quickly as possible. Does that mean that Ulsama will not be moving immediately? If I make my move, I want to thoroughly crush them all in one day. I won't let a single one of them get away. But, to do that, I need to wait a little more. What do you mean? If the situation changes when I am moving as silver, then it will be bad. Tomorrow, messengers from every war front will come in to give reports to the emperor. I will make my move once I obtain the information from there. I see. Then please leave the cover-up to me. Yeah, I'm counting on you. While saying that, I desperately try to control my emotions. I want to crush them all as soon as possible, but there would be no point if I cannot wipe them out in one go. The reason I waited so far was to make my move in a perfect condition after all. While telling myself so, I managed to calm down. The next day, the messengers came for my father. There are messengers from the north and the south. And most importantly, the one from the west. What is the situation on the Western Front? Reporting. The Western Border Defense Force led by His Highness Leonard has overwhelmed the kingdom's army and has captured 3 of their generals, Your Majesty. Oh, as expected of Leonard. The Mage Division introduced to the battle is also very active in the war. It appears that they are now considered the main force of the Western Front, sir. Until now, the Imperial Army did not have a unit dedicated to mages. Although we assigned several mages to each of our units, our neighbor, the so-called Empire, has produced results by gathering these mages into a special unit. Following their example, the Imperial Army also created a unit consisting only of mages. That is the Mage Division. Since it was a unit that Zandaranu had helped establish, it had not been put to active duty until recently. Leo took them with him when he went out, saying that they would be effective against the kingdom's army. It seems that his prediction is correct. Good. With this, we should be able to extinguish the concern of the kingdom's invasion, right? Franz. Perhaps. However, they will probably not go down without fighting. They are aware that we are fighting on a limited strength after all. The war with the Dominion is over, and for the time being, we can concentrate our strength on the kingdom. They will not be able to break through the Western Front. We can maintain the status quo. However, if this goes on for too long, the so-called Empire may start to move, Your Majesty. That is true. It seems that the peace treaty is not going well, right? His Highness Eric is discussing the matter with the Minister of the Kingdom, but it is still up in the air, Your Majesty. Showing quite a strong front here. Do they think that we will not attack? They probably think that they will be able to endure even if we start an invasion. They still have their impregnable fortress that we couldn't take down even once after all. The circumstances are different now. The principalities in the south now favor the Empire. They can expect no support from the sea. 11 years ago, the kingdom and the Empire were waging a large-scale war. However, one fortress in the kingdom was constantly being supplied from the sea route, and the Empire had to withdraw without able to take it down. The Principality of Albatro was the one in charge of supplying that fortress. However, this could be said to be Leonard and Arnold's achievement. It was a result produced from a coincidence. Also, I think it would be wise to remain on our guard until we receive an official confirmation from Albatro. I agree with His Highness Arnold. I've already sent a letter to Albatro the other day. I think that we should receive their reply soon, Your Majesty. Good. If Albatro is on our side, we will attack the kingdom. But our goal, in the end, is peace. Let Eric know that as well. As you wish. With that said, Father stood up from the throne, indicating that the meeting was over. I also left the place while letting out a long sigh. It seems that Leo is doing well. This is a battle that Leonard Sama must win, sir. Letitia's status won't be stable unless we deal with the problem at the kingdom after all. One came up with all kinds of plots because he doesn't want to get married while another wants to get married, so he wields his sword on the battlefield. An extreme case of duality as always, sir. We are that kind of siblings after all. I said that as I entered my room. Finn was inside with Silver's mask placed on my desk. Then, as we discussed, I'm counting on you. Understood, sir. Please have a safe trip. Yeah. Now it's time for secret maneuvers. Saying so, I donned the silver mask and became Silver. Chapter 426. A rude guest. at an underground facility in the southern region of the empire. I was fishing through documents at this facility. They have many documents on Saint Letitia. Apparently, they continued their research based on the data they collected when they kidnapped her. These guys never learn. Damn you. Silver. Turning around to face the source of that faint voice, I found a mage in a black robe standing there. But he was only standing. His whole body was covered in blood and he looked like he is about to collapse. So someone did survive. Everyone who put up a fight when I took this facility was crushed against the wall by my barrier. After all, it would trouble me if the fight went wrong and the documents get damaged. After throwing the documents I discovered through the transfer gate, I slowly approached the mage. With the little power he has left, the mage cast his magic toward me, but it could not break my barrier. Why? With all that power, why do you not understand our research, our inquisitive mind? I don't even want to understand. Just how many lives do you want to sacrifice to satisfy this inquisitive mind of yours? I pushed the barrier toward the mage. Just like the others, the mage was pushed by the barrier and crushed against the wall. Time to move on her. This base was a miss. I managed to find some of their researches on Letitia, but that is within my predictions. It is not what I want to know. What I want to know is Grimoire's endgame. The driving force behind their actions is their inquisitive mind. That attitude itself is not wrong as a mage, but the method they chose is wrong. However, these mages would not try so hard if the objective itself did not interest them. The question is what this inquisitive mind of theirs is leading to. Whatever it is, it can't be good. I can guess what it is to a certain extent. But I still cannot be concrete. Deciding to confirm my hunch, I transferred away. My next stop is an abandoned castle on the western frontier. I was looking down on this abandoned castle from the sky. Their base should be deep underground. The defense here is solid, clearly above that of the other bases. They have multiple barriers deployed to defense the underground facility and physical defense provided by the castle itself. According to Zandaranyu, the leader of Grimoire is an elusive person known only as the Grand Duke. It appears that only their executives have ever met with this person. And this base belongs to one of their executives called Haenti. This executive seems to have had close ties with Zuzan. And among their personnel inside the empire, this guy seems to rank the highest. Being a little rough here shouldn't be a problem, right? Muttering so, I point my right hand toward the abandoned castle. As expected, hitting it with a chanted ancient magic spell might destroy the base along with the valuable documents inside. That's why. Let's go with quantity over quality. Magic bullets emerged around me. The number exceeds 1,000. Even if I said quantity, the power packed in each of these bullets is equal to that of a spell fired by your average mages at full power. I hurled them all at the abandoned castle at high speed. Upon impact, the castle was pulverized and the facilities under it were exposed. The multi-layered barriers were hit over and over until they disappeared and the upper part of their underground base was destroyed. Then, finally, the magic bullets were exhausted. I toned it down too much here. When I slowly descended down, I found people collapsing here and there. Most of them have already stopped breathing. The impact from the bullets was enough to pulverize their base. Naturally, those insides wouldn't be safe. However, the lower level seems to be intact. After I discovered a staircase, I slowly headed down to the lower level. With a barrier capable of protecting this lower level, it seems that Grimoire has a mage that I will have to watch out for. After I kept heading downward, I arrived at a large room. This place seems to be some kind of laboratory. I thought that we had a rude guest coming today, but it's just an SS rank adventurer here. Deep inside that underground room was a young woman in a lab coat. The glasses fit her very well and give her the image of a researcher. But my instinct is telling me she is dangerous. Are you Haenti? Indeed. I am currently acting as one of Grimoire's executives. Well, since you are here, you must have known that already, right? I have a question for you. After you destroyed my base to the point beyond recovery, you want to ask me a question? Don't you think that's a little rude? You have no right to say that either though. I tapped on the floor with my right foot. The water snake that was slithering around the place immediately burst open. Haenti probably prepared that to attack me. Good grief. Half-baked power really is a sin, don't you think? Whether my power is half-baked or not, do you want to try it out? Nah, that's okay. I have no need to do that anymore. Saying so, Haenti snapped her fingers. At that moment, my field of vision was wrapped in water. A stationary type water barrier. It's a special cage I developed. Feel free to stay in there until you exhaust yourself. Haenti said that like a parting word. It seems that she has already lost her interest in me. She probably gauged my strength from the previous attack and judged that I cannot break through this cage. Looking down on me quite a bit. My SS rank isn't just for show though. While protecting myself with a barrier, I walk out of the water cage. Without the barrier, my body would have been minced meat already. However, that cage is not strong enough to hold me. What's wrong? You don't look so carefree anymore though. Change of plan. That was wonderful. I will keep you here. Treating me like a specimen. Well, I don't have any right to comment on that. After all, I only see her as a source of information. We are similar in this regard because we do not treat each other as a human. I've already attacked other bases, but I was actually troubled because they were too weak. They were too fragile to be the proper outlet of my anger, you see. I approached Haenti while releasing my magic power. And without fear, Haenti also walked toward me. To think that I still can't see the bottom of your power. Such an abnormal specimen. Do stay here as my research material by all means. And you are going to be my source of information. You will tell me everything. Haenti also released her magic power and our magic power began to affect our surroundings. The wall started to tremble like the earth was shaking. Then, we point our right hands toward each other. Chapter 427. The Feared Development. Haenti shot multiple water bullets toward me, but I projected a barrier with my right hand and forcibly closed the distance. Even though you are a mage, you are quite a brute, aren't you? It's necessary, you see. Just like that, I slammed into Haenti. Her reaction was a little delayed due to my unexpected action. Using that opening, I opened a transfer gate behind Haenti and pushed her inside. Then, seriously, what a rough way to use transfer magic. It is going to get even rougher from now on. We transferred to a plane in the north. It was the place I fought the spirit turtle. There shouldn't be a problem if we go wild here. Silver's transfer magic. I've heard rumors, but this seems really convenient. Can you travel freely at both long and short distances? What if I can? I said that as I teleported behind Haenti in an instant and kicked her away. With clouds of dirt accompanying the impact, Haenti was sent flying, but she managed to safely land. I didn't miss that chance and started chanting. I am one that acts on the will of heaven. I am one who understands the law of heaven and earth. The time of judgment has arrived. Let the innocents rejoice and the sinners tremble. Let my judgment be the judgment of God. Let my blow be the blow of God. Let the flame gathered in my hand scorch the heaven. O flame of heaven, turn the sinners to ashes. Execution. Prominence. My opponent is using water. The reason I used fire, an element that is disadvantaged against water, is to test her ability. A huge flame was emitted from the magic circle I deployed in front of me and headed toward Haenti. In response, Haenti gathered the water from the nearby river and turned it into a giant ball. Then, she made it rush toward my execution prominence. I thought that she would try to avoid it, but she is facing me head-on. Looking down on me. So this is silver ancient magic. Interesting. The giant ball and the flame collided and continued to combat each other for a while. However, both eventually reached their limit and burst into the air. Although there was a river nearby, to think that she can actually offset my execution prominence. Moreover, it appeared like she had done that with no chant. This is my bad habit, you see. I always let those I have interests in show off their hands first. So you are saying that you let me use the transfer magic and the earlier attack? Correct. That was splendid, by the way. I see. I let out a long sigh. Although I had expected it, accepting the reality in front of me now is a little tiring. After all, I can expect a much more troublesome future. Out of juices already? Don't you have anything else to show me? That should be my line. Are you the only one? Does Grimoire have other demons in their employ? Demons cannot use magic. To say it better, they have no need to. Because all demons have authority, an ability that only demons have. Like how the demon Furkers created a giant sword in my fight against him in the south, it was not that he was specialized in that kind of magic. It was because that was his authority. Because such authorities given to the demons are something specialized, and the fact that the wielders are demons that are far superior to humans, these authorities greatly surpass your average magic. That's why I can assume that Haenti is a demon. Only demons can offset my magic without chanting like that. The problem here is no matter how I look at her, she appears to be human. In fact, I have feared this since my encounter with Furkers. The demons are mixing into human society. I was expecting to see more of them. There's no way that an organization like Grimoire, which has been lurking in the shadows for so long, would count on chances to summon a powerful demon through the corruption of the saint. They should already have successful trials. Because they already have their success, they put their plan into motion. With that line of thinking, this should be no surprise. However, this will surely bring turmoil to the entire continent. The demons that once wreaked havoc on mankind are sneaking their way into our society in the form of humans. That is a serious matter that will require careful countermeasure. However, Haenti lightly laughed at my question. Is it that obvious? Well, it doesn't matter even if we got found out though. Grimoire was trying to use the saint to summon a demon. I thought that it was just some delusional plan, but you people already produced some results and are aiming to improve on it. The SS rank adventurer that always appears whenever the Empire is in crisis. As expected, you are sharp. You are mostly correct. There are two methods of summoning demons. Either you use a fresh corpse of a human or through someone that is mentally similar to the demons. But the success rate of summoning demons using corpses is terrifyingly low. You could think of those successes as pure coincidence. That's why we gathered the people whose mentality is close to that of the demons and try summoning through them one by one. And one of those successes is me. What happened to the original personality? It doesn't look like you are coexisting in there though. I took over the human over time. It's normally impossible for humans to retain their ego while they have a demon inside them for a long time, you see. I see. You are quite talkative, aren't you? Thanks to her, I learned a lot of things. One is that they also have demons who they managed to summon using corpses. And that Haenti is not the only one summoned using the latter method. It is quite daring of her to talk this much. Haenti thinks that she has the advantage. That carefree attitude of hers has not changed ever since the beginning of the fight. It seems that you have defeated a demon summoned through a corpse in the south before, but between a living human host and a dead one, a living host provides us with more power. In other words, I can wield my demon power however I like. Feeling something strange, I looked up at the sky. Water spears were lining up above me, leaving no place for me to escape to. She probably reused the water from her previous attack. To think that she can dish out a large-scale attack like this without any preparation. She is certainly superior to the demons I fought in the south. However, that doesn't mean I can't win. How fortunate. What? It seems there won't be a problem even if I hit you with all my power, her. Saying so, I put my hands together in front of my chest. Then, I am one who understands the principle of silver. I am one who was chosen as the true silver. I quickly started chanting. Chapter 428. SSS rank. I am one who understands the principle of silver. I am one who was chosen as the true silver. Demons are powerful. 500 years ago, it took the alliance of many races from all over the continent to finally defeat them. These demons are in the truest sense, a monster. At that time, it seems that they did not have to rely on a vessel to show themselves on our continent, but this Haenti in front of me is exhibiting power close to that of the demons of that age. No matter what documents or works of literature I read about the situation at that time, I cannot help but think of it as a miracle that mankind managed to win the war against the demons 500 years ago. Surely, it was a desperate battle for them. And now I am facing an opponent who possesses the power close to that of the demons of old. Moreover, she will not be the only one. I can expect to encounter even more powerful demons in the future. That's why it is fortunate for me. I will have no shortage of opponents to measure my power against these ancient monsters and the powerful people of the past. Silver's prided silver destruction magic? I want to see it. Show it to me, Haenti said as she rained the water spears down on me from above. While defending myself with a barrier, I continued my chant. Silver light scorches the heaven. The brilliance of silver pierces through the darkness. Silver destruction magic is certainly powerful, but it also has many weaknesses. The most prominent of these weaknesses is the difficulty to land it. Obviously, the chant required to fully exhibit its power is long, but what is even more troubling is that unless the opponent is fixed in place, the spells of this school are easy to miss. That's why I always need something to stop my opponent's movement. Falling is the dark abyss. Shining is the ray of silver. The opponents I can use it against are limited, as I can only use it on large monsters and opponents that I can restrain. I have used it against many opponents before, but now it is difficult because the opponent is of the same rank as me. Even if I can finish my chant, it would be useless if she can avoid the magic. Even so, I can't defeat someone I can't restrain with chantless magic. Let the golden light inhibit the silver brilliance. Let the silver brilliance swallow the rainbow light. To defeat an opponent whose power is of the same rank as me, I need a silver destruction spell that will not miss. A spell that guarantees my victory as long as I can finish the chant. That is my answer. Shine, ray of silver light. O darkness, prostrate and give in. The barrier began to reach its limit. Haenti still has plenty of her water spears and they are still full of power. I wonder when was the last time I felt the danger to my life when I was in Silver's form. Maybe this is the first time. I have always annihilated my opponent with sheer superiority. I have become used to it. However, the world is wide. I cannot let my guard down. After all, I know that there are opponents who possess the power equal to mine. This is the magic I have prepared for those guys, the SS rank adventurers. O silver light, reign over my body and annihilate my enemy. Silvery force. After the long 12 verses chant, the silver light I produced in my hands entered my body. At the same time, the barrier broke and countless water spears struck me. Normally, I should already collapse from their sheer power and quantity. However, I am unharmed. So it was a defensive spell, huh? Wrong. This is a spell that brings destruction to my enemy. The silver light that entered my body spread around me like a film. It was this film that protected me from the water spears. Haenti muttered in a let-down tone that this was a defensive spell, but this film is simply the materialization of surplus energy. A simple byproduct. Who? Then show it to me, will you? Saying so, Haenti created a huge water eagle. It is larger and has a stronger presence than the earlier ball that offset the execution prominence. The huge eagle opened its mouth wide and flew toward me. In response, I casually waved my right hand to the water eagle. What was released was an ordinary magic bullet. However, its color was silver. The silver bullet collided with the approaching eagle and easily pierced through it and moved on to tore off Haenti's right hand. No chant. Silvery force is a universal enhancement spell. Not only my physical strength, my sense, and magic control were also enhanced. But its biggest benefit of all is that every attack I release in this state is silvery magic. In an instant, I circled behind Haenti and said it to her. That was not my transfer magic. It was simply a high-speed movement. Transfer magic is convenient, but once the process of opening the transfer gate is known to the enemy, then any strong opponent should be able to detect my movement with it. However, in this state, I am simply that fast. That's why Haenti could not detect my approach. Wonderful. So this is the power of the continent's strongest mage. While saying so, Haenti took a distance from me and began collecting the water from her surroundings to her herself. Eventually, A winged bull formed with Haenti as its core. This huge monster gave off an intimidating feeling close to that of a dragon. However, the degree of danger it poses is incomparable to the other dragons I encountered before. When the winged bull fluttered its wings, countless water spears flew toward me. I intercepted them with a simple swing of my left hand, but using that chance, Haenti already flew to the sky. Prepping its forefoot like a war bull, the winged bull Haenti rushed toward me. I told you that every attack I perform will become silver destruction magic, but obviously, if I use silver destruction magic in this state, its power will be strengthened as well. I muttered and waved my right hand toward Haenti. Silvery lightning. Silver thunder struck the winged bull and stripped off all the water from its body and burned Haenti, who was at its core. The abnormals of mankind. SS rank adventurers. You are not within the prediction. Don't group them up with me. My power right now is already of the SSS rank. Approaching the tattered Haenti, I hit her with my right fist. Accompanied by a silver flash, Haenti's body was annihilated. A demon that inhibited a human vessel is supposed to boast powerful vitality, but if the body is completely destroyed like this, it should not be able to survive. Phoo. I release silvery force and take a breath. The amount of magic power consumed is quite large, and this is my first time using it in real combat, but I was able to move at a satisfactory level. The problem is, if I have to fight a demon that is even more powerful than Haenti, how would I activate this spell in time? That is the main problem, but it can be solved by throwing away my pride. When fighting against the demons, it seems I have no choice but to cooperate with the SS rankers here. I have been fighting alone so far. In other words, I am a mage that can solo everything until now. I have no need for a partner to maintain the front line for me. But if I have to fight opponents whose power is equal to mine in the future, then that will have to change. I guess I will go fishing through their documents for the time being here. Saying so, I transferred to the destroyed Haenti's base. Chapter 429. Meaning of Evidence. I returned to Haenti's base and began searching through her laboratory. The first thing I spotted was a bottle filled with blood. So they came from here. The bottle was labeled vampire. And next to that bottle, there are various bottles containing liquids with all kinds of different colors. These are probably the drugs that Kruger used to turn people into monsters during his rebellion. Moreover, on top of the neatly arranged desk were a number of operation plans. There was one on how they plan experiments with children who possess odd eyes, and ones with Xandaranu and Gordonanu's names written on it. For Xandaranu, there were details about how they deliver children to her for experimentation. As for Gordonanu, there were details of how they sent children that can be used for military purposes to him. In other words, ever since what happened in the East, they have been involved in almost everything. The fact that the vampires I caught in the East didn't say anything until they were about to be killed was because they knew that demons are behind this here. With a demon that powerful, they should be able to forcefully control those vampires with ease. They should be able to procure the monster-controlling flute Hamon as well. Kruger's vampire blood supplier was probably them. Furthermore, they had been fueling Xandaranu and Gordonanu's madness while using the children from all across the continent in their experiments. It's all their fault. Muttering so, I throw as much evidence as I can into the transfer gate. The evidence I discovered will be transferred to Jisan's room in the castle, where Sebas will organize them. Then, I noticed an operation plan with a familiar word written on it. Highness. That word was written on only one of the plans. It was written that this Highness is in a cooperative relationship with the Grand Duke and that things are mostly proceeding according to their plan. However, this one was cut off in the middle. There should be a continuation, but I can't find it here. As I thought, she did get rid of the dangerous stuff here. After the upper level was destroyed, it was only a brief moment before I came down to this laboratory. Moreover, Haenti thought that she had the upper hand at first. Even so, she still destroyed this one particular report. There must be something she wanted to hide. The Grand Duke is the leader of Grimoire, and Highness is probably a part of a royal family of some country, but with their involvement in the Empire's affairs so far, it is easy to think that this Highness is a part of the imperial family. Moreover, There is one candidate in this succession war that appeared to never make his move so far. Eric. But that is too easy. I can't get rid of my discomfort. I don't think that the answer would be that easy. That's why I decided to stop thinking about this for the time being. After all, I still have an objective to fulfill. Let's head off and destroy the rest of the bases. Saying so, I left Haenti's base and moved to the next one. After that, I had no problem crushing the remaining grimoires bases. All bases were completely destroyed after I was done with my investigation, and as far as I am aware, every base they had in the Empire was destroyed. I left none standing. However, I encountered no demon aside from Haenti. It seems that their main force is in the kingdom. I told Sebas and Jisan as I transferred to his secret room in the castle where they are organizing the evidence I discovered. You still managed to have quite a good harvest, right? Jisan said while keeping his eyes fixed on one of the plans. Certainly, I should have enough proof now that the Empire was under attack by Grimoire. However, that was something I already expected. It was a good harvest, but this cannot put a lid on them. They are all something that has already happened after all. There is nothing that can lead us to what they are planning in the future, and we cannot change the past. The evidence here only fuels my anger toward Grimoire. But everything is not in vain, sir. Exactly. With evidence, we can move people. Right. With the evidence in our hands, we can persuade others. If we can persuade people that they are a threat, we can get others to cooperate with us. Our opponent is an organization. Moreover, it is not an ordinary organization but one backed by demons. Fighting alone against an organization that can launch an attack on a big country like ours would be irrational. Now, it will be a fight between organizations. Jisan. Sorry, but you want me to pretend to be Arnold Lake's Adler for a while, right? Don't worry, just go. Thank you. Sebas, the evidence. I've finished organizing them, sir. I exhaled a long sigh as I received the organized report from Sebas. What is lost can never be returned. But I can still decrease the number of future sacrifices. Take care of the rest for me. I am heading to the headquarters. It would be nice if you can mobilize every adventurer here. No. I will only try to mobilize the high-ranked adventurers. It will only increase the damage if low-ranked adventurers are included in this as well. With the headquarters as it is now, the folks over there should understand the urgency of this. The former guild headquarters may not have lifted their fat asses, but the current leader of the guild is Clyde. The demons are blending in with humans. Moreover, they are working with a criminal organization. He should understand how abnormal and dangerous this situation is. Then I'm off. Saying so, I started transferring to the guild headquarters. After a series of transfer gates, I arrived at the guild chief's office. I have to talk to you. Cough. If you want to talk to me, then at least knock before you come in. Clyde, who was in the middle of drinking his tea, spat the tea out after he saw me suddenly transferred in. Ignoring Clyde's protest, I put the report on his desk. I crushed Grimoire's bases in the Empire. This is what I found. Oi oi. This is. Also, they have established a method to summon a demon into a human's body. I have already fought one, but I think only SS rankers can deal with them for good. The demons have returned to this continent here. Hearing my discovery on the demons, Clyde muttered with a serious expression. It wasn't until the invasion of the Demon King that the Adventurer Guild began to defend the entire continent from a neutral position. Just as the Imperial family has been preparing for them, the Adventurer Guild has also prepared to combat the demon threat. And the time finally arrived. Come with me. What's the plan? We are going to discuss this first. With the rulers of this continent, that is. After saying that, Clyde speaks to his subordinate who was outside of his door. I am using my authority as chief of the Adventurer Guild to convene a meeting with the kings of every country. We are hosting a summit, Kanji read the Wise King Conference. Inform the leaders of every country that it's a continental crisis. The Adventurer Guild has several pieces of secret technology. Long-distance communication is one of them. With the possibility that these technologies will intensify the wars between countries, The guild never leaks them to the outside. However, since they have their uses, the guild makes use of them to protect the continent. The guild chief has the authority to hold meetings with country leaders using such technologies. However, there is only one agenda that justifies the use of this authority. A Continental Crisis. Chapter 430. Preliminary Consultation. Basement of the guild headquarters. I followed Clyde to the special remote communication room. A round table was located in the middle of the room. In front of each seat around the table was a crystal. This same room exists in the capital of every country. The meeting that takes place in this room is called the Summit of the Wise Kings. The authority to call this meeting lies with the chief of the Adventurer Guild. It can only be held at the chief's discretion or at the request of 3 or more countries. Call the empire's emperor first. There is a guild staff of each of the capital branches on standby in front of the crystal in their respective meeting room. They have the duty to notify the ruler of their country that the meeting will be held. However, this time I want the emperor to be notified first. The empire is a party involved. I think that we should explain the situation to them first. Will this be frowned upon by the other countries? If we don't tell them, then they won't know. Besides, this problem already caused heavy damage to the empire. I agree, we should let him know what he is walking into. It is what it is after all. It would be helpful if we let him know first. We talked for a while as we waited for the emperor to arrive. The process for this is that the staff must request an audience with the emperor at the castle and guide him to the Imperial Capital Guild branch. It takes time. However, this is normal when you want to summon a ruler of a nation. After a while, smoke emerged from one of the crystals and a human face appeared in it. Seems like I made you wait. No, thank you for your prompt response, Your Imperial Majesty. It's natural to give my highest priority when it comes to a summit. But is it only me here? Father frowned at the fact that the other participants were all absent. Actually, you are the first one we called, Your Imperial Majesty. As for the reason, please allow Silver to explain. If there is a problem, you should have come directly for me at the Imperial capital. You have been entering and leaving my castle whenever you want after all. I thought that I should bring this to the guild first. I will apologize that I did this in a roundabout way. But this problem will be worth the time. In summary, I have destroyed every single one of Grimoire's bases inside the Empire. During that time, I discovered the evidence of their involvement in various recent incidents. Who? You don't seem surprised. With that many incidents happening in such a short period of time, it would be more natural to think that there was someone behind them. If that someone is Grimoire, then I am convinced. But that is not the only reason we called for this meeting. The problem here is that there are demons among the executives of Grimoire. Their appearance is no different than that of a human. They have blended in with mankind. What? Father's expression immediately changed. This is not the case where a demon was accidentally summoned like the case in the south. That's the problem. Grimoire has established a technique to summon demons into human bodies. Moreover, the summoned demons are powerful. Without the ability equal to that of an SS rank adventurer, it will be difficult to guarantee victory. The demon's threat is upon us again. They have already made their move. The reason the Empire was targeted first probably was due to either that the Empire was the country that stubbornly resisted their invasion the most 500 years ago, or the existences of the heroes. Either way, it is clear that the Empire is their target and currently at war with the kingdom. So far, everything must have gone according to their plan. So we were dancing in their palm from the start. Because of them, I had to execute my daughter and my son had to kill his own brother. The imperial family of the Empire is extraordinary. The less the number, the more the Empire's national power will diminish. It appeared that they took advantage of the succession war, but it is doubtful that this succession war occurred naturally. You are suggesting that they were involved with the death of the Crown Prince. It is only a speculation, but it is unlikely that the Crown Prince would just die on the battlefield. Even you thought that it was an assassination rather than an accident, no? Father stays silent. He looks like he is trying to hold down his anger. Seeing him like that, Clyde changed the topic. The reason we called this meeting is the demons. Since we discovered that a criminal organization is employing demons, we have decided that it is a problem for the entire continent. You are correct. We have to crush them no matter what. That's why we'd like to make a request, Your Majesty. We'd like the Empire and the Kingdom to make a ceasefire agreement. We are already preparing for a full-scale offensive. We are aware, Your Majesty. But please. It was them who took advantage of the turmoil in my country and launched an invasion. It is clearly possible that they are involved with Grimoire. Without a retaliation, no one in my country would approve of a ceasefire. You can be at ease about that. I speak to Father. After all, I am with him on the ceasefire. When Grimoire started showing up in the Empire, the Kingdom made their move against us. And it was the Kingdom that Grimoire escaped to. Thinking that they have no ties with Grimoire at all would be strange. I want to investigate those ties right now, but I also have a position to maintain here. That's why. If it is proven that the Kingdom does have a connection with Grimoire, they will be treated as the enemy of the continent due to their association with the demons. This means that they will become a subjugation target of the Adventurer Guild. If it comes to that, I promise to fight with you. I will never let them escape my hands. Silver. However, that is a story for another time. Your Majesty, if you take a step back here, it will be easier to proceed with the meeting. Please cooperate with us. For the sake of the continent. If you put it like that, then I can't refuse. We already planned a ceasefire after we dealt a blow to them anyway. I would not be convinced if we cannot retaliate at all, but if that is the case, then I accept. I am grateful. That concluded the preliminary negotiation. Now we call the other rulers. That being said, depending on the Kingdom's reaction, our course of action might have to change. By the way, Guild Chief, I have to tell you something. What is it, Your Majesty? The King of the United Kingdom will not attend this meeting. What do you mean? Right now, he is secretly heading toward my country to discuss the future of his country. That is some outrageous news. The United Kingdom's standing will get even worse if they are absent in this meeting. I want to let you know first, Guild Chief. I see. I will notify them that it is fine to have a representative attend the meeting instead. Not attending at all would be much worse after all. The United Kingdom is also a country that has invaded the Empire. If they do not attend this meeting, then they will fall under suspicion. But he already made his move her. That sounds very like that man. So the first move he made after he stabilized his country was to improve the relationship with the Empire. Well then, let us call the other kings. We have a continental crisis to discuss. In response to Clyde's words, the guild staff of each capital started to move. Chapter 431. Kings. I never thought there would be a call for Summit of the Wise Kings during my reign. The first king to appear was a grey-haired old man. He has a long white beard and a face full of wrinkles that indicate his advanced age. His name is Mikhail Allah Sokol. As he is already over 80 years old, he is the oldest monarch on this continent. The Emperor of Sokol Empire. We thank you for your swift response, Your Majesty. It's only natural to respond swiftly to a continental crisis. That being said, it's been a while, Emperor Johannes. Must have been since I was still a crown prince, right? You sure have a long life to rule over your country this long, Emperor Mikhail. The Sokol Empire has always been a rival of the Adrasha Empire. Sokol was an empire that controlled most of the eastern part of the continent, while Adrasha was an empire that ruled over the central part. The two countries have always collided with each other, so it is rare for their rulers to meet like this. Normally, only their representatives would attend the meetings in their places. However, that is not the case for a summit. I do live long. But doesn't it seem like you are having quite a hard time with your succession war? If you lowered your head, it's not like I am not willing to lend you a hand, you know. That would be a big help. But I heard that Sokol was recently devastated by a giant monster, no? If you lowered your head, I see no reason why I should not send you some aid, you know. My empire still has plenty of resources to spare after all. The two never took their eyes off each other. It's an atmosphere where it would be hopeless if you want to see them shake hands. Meanwhile, another person appeared. To think that both emperors have already arrived. As a younger man, I must apologize for my tardiness, said a young man with platinum blonde hair and pale purple eyes. He has a faint smile on his face, but there was only coldness behind his eyes. One could describe his appearance as a mysterious, handsome young man. However, he is someone that doesn't belong in this meeting. This is a summit. What happened to His Majesty the King? Your Highness the First Prince. I am already a crown prince. Father is still asleep due to his illness. I am attending this meeting on his behalf. Did you not imprison him after you took power? Prince Lucian. Father put him in check. This young man's name is Lucian du Palan, the firstborn son of the current king of Palan and their crown prince. He is the de facto leader of the anti-imperial faction in Palan and the one who holds real power there. Ha ha ha, surely you jest. My father and I are on good terms. It is not our country that a prince started a rebellion. You would not find such unsightliness in my country. Lucian jabbed back with a smile. On the other hand, father, who was insulted by the word unsightliness, did not show his anger. He simply narrowed his eyes at Lucian. It seems that he is truly irritated now. How young, Crown Prince. You are truly full of vigor. My apology, Your Imperial Majesty. I am a little too full of vigor right now. Did you not ally yourself with another country and attacked the empire? You are not so foolish as to mistake bravery for recklessness, do you? You are saying that my country was reckless. Is that not appear to be the case right now? Well, certainly. We were not blessed with a good ally after all. Since your country did not have the resolve to fight this war alone from the start, you will lose. I see. This has been a valuable lesson, as expected from a country that's single-handedly fighting off the Princess General. Lucian tried to provoke Emperor Mikhail by implying that his country couldn't even handle Lizaranu alone. However, Emperor Mikhail nonchalantly brushed that off. That would still be better than a country that couldn't even breach the border with an alliance. At the very least, the Dominion and the United Kingdom managed to break through. One must certainly choose their ally well, it seems. It seems that I have to concede that point. I really can't beat Your Majesty through words. Lucian said that and turned his eyes to father. Father didn't say anything. He then tried to speak to father. However, you better not look down on the Adlers too much. No words come out from Lucian's mouth. He is being seriously glared at by father after all. His expression was unmistakably one that if Lucian was within his reach, he would pull out his sword and cut him down immediately. It's a vow that father will absolutely kill him. As expected, Lucian didn't seem to want to provoke father in this condition, so he quietly lowered his head. Excuse my rudeness. Forgive us, Guild Chief. It seems that we got a little too heated up. I think that it is natural given that this is a meeting between rulers of two warring nations, Your Majesty. Clyde gave a safe reply. Here we have the heads of the three strongest nations on the continent. If you bring them face to face and they have such a tongue-in-cheek battle, then of course he would choose to stay safe. While that was going on, the kings of other countries started to appear one after another. The kings of Albatro and Rondine are here as well. And Moo. There's suddenly a lot of faces. Celestial Princess Dono. What happened to the king? It seems that he is leaving it to me. It's only natural. If it's a continental crisis, then the one who has to go out would be me after all, said Oriheim, the celestial princess of Mizuho. Unlike with Lucian, no one raises any complaints. The celestial princess is the guardian of Mizuho. One could say that a celestial princess is even more suitable as their representative in this meeting than their king. It is an entirely different matter whether the person herself is suitable or not, though. But a meeting between kings really is a stiff place to be her. Moreover, the old geezer from Sokol is here too. Of course, I would be here. So you are still alive. Well, it does seem like you are already all wobbly though. Looks like you won't be able to get through my barrier during your lifetime, eh? You did great. You can rest in peace now. Don't just kill me off so easily. She said whatever she wants her. This attitude of hers that doesn't change even in the face of kings, I don't really know if I should call it a virtue or a drawback. Some kings are certainly frowning at her, but my father is only smiling lightly at her attitude. It's been a long time, Celestial Princess.Donno. Oh, it's been a while. How's Arnold? He's doing fine. He got all flustered since talks of marriage came up to him recently though. What? Arnold is getting married? Don't be reserved. I am willing to take him in, you know. Feel free to send him over with some gold coins. I'm happy to hear that. Still, it seems that he has no intention to marry anyone at the moment. That sure sounds like Arnold. Don't you think so? Silver. Oriheim directed the talk to me with a smile. I can only sigh in response. I wonder about that. I am not that close with him after all. What a boring answer. I have no obligation to make it interesting. Is it about time we start? The representative from the United Kingdom still isn't here yet. What happened to their king? It appears that the king is absent, Your Majesty. That country is not stable yet. That's why I informed them that they can send a representative instead. Clyde responds to Emperor Mikhail's question. That is probably the best lie he can come up with. If he only says that their king is currently away from their castle, then the other kings will have no choice but to acknowledge that. Still, that would work well for any other country, but that is a country that is famous for its flying dragons. The distance they can cover is incomparable to horses. After a while, a man appeared from the crystal at the seat reserved for the United Kingdom. Forgive me for representing my king on this occasion. I am Roger, the captain of the Black Dragon Knight Order of the United Kingdom. The strongest dragon knight her. There's no shortage of interesting people today. I am honored by your praise, Emperor Sokol. However, I have already lost that title in the sky of Adrasia. Roger said with a smile. Somehow, his smile looks refreshing. That's probably how much he recognizes Finn's ability. Now that we have all the participants, let us begin the summit. At Clyde's declaration, the meeting finally started. Note, reminder, Adrasia Empire was inspired by the German Empire, and Sokol Empire was inspired by Russia. Chapter 432. A country under doubt. First, thank you for coming today, Your Majesties. Keep it short. You called us here because there is an emergency, right? Emperor Sokol urged Clyde to skip the stiff formal greeting. Clyde nodded at his words and turned his gaze on me. Then, the demons have returned. They are using human bodies as vessels and blended into our society. I summarized the situation. The expressions of all rulers presented completely changed. Can you give us more details? Silver. Prince Lucian urged me to continue. You are the most suspicious guy here. While rebutting him in my heart, I proceeded with the talk. When I destroyed the bases of grimoire inside the Empire, there was a demon that was inhabiting a human body. Silver. You mean to say that you have already subjugated it? I subjugated it. When I answered the King of Albatro, relief spread between the kings. However, to emphasize the importance of this matter, Father started talking. This is the second time a demon has appeared in my country. This is no coincidence. That is right. From what I have discovered from the documents I found at Grimoire's bases, it is clear that Grimoire was somehow involved with almost all the recent incidents that occurred within the Empire. That being the case, it is safe to assume that Grimoire is employing demons to attack the Empire, or that Grimoire was simply being used by the demons. Either way, it makes no difference to the situation at hand. It is a fact that we are in a crisis. With their attack on a large country like the Adrasia Empire, there is no doubt that they possess a certain degree of strength. The continent is once again under attack by the demons. A return after 500 years. Each king started to get restless, but there was one that did not move at all. Fumu. So you are saying that we can just destroy them all, right? Silver. Do not say that so lightly, Emperor Mikhail. Compared to the demon that was summoned in the southern region of the Adrasia Empire, this one was multiple times stronger. Moreover, they are acting as an organization. It would take a number of SS-rank adventurers to completely destroy all of them. But you do not think that you will lose, right? This celestial princess will lend you my power. You may come to me whenever you need. We thank you for your cooperation, Celestial Princess.Donno. As for the Adventurer Guild, We will dispatch our elite AAA rank adventurers and above to subjugate Grimoire. This is a problem that we would like to take action on as soon as possible. We must act before the number of demons is increased any more than this. They have established a method to summon demons into human vessels, and they've already got their hands on live human subjects. If we linger, these demons might sneak their way into the heart of your countries. These demons appear completely human. If they act normal, then it is probably going to be difficult to spot them. I see. This is certainly a continental crisis. But it seems that their target at the moment is only the Empire, though. Do you really think that the appearance of that strange evolution slime in your country was natural? Emperor Mikhail, that thing was heading toward the Adrasia Empire. We can see it as one of their attempts to attack the Empire, no? It is a fact that the crisis is imminent. However, it is currently centered around the Empire. Other countries have not suffered much damage from this threat yet. With that being the case, the talk will get more difficult. I do not mind that the Adventurer Guild is willing to cooperate with the Empire, but it would be a different story if you want the help from the whole continent, right? Said Prince Lucian with a faint smile. The reward for cooperation here is only the elimination of the threat. Not to mention that we will be fighting against the demons. It is entirely possible that the forces you mobilize to help other countries will never return. That is what the kings of each nation are worrying about. They do not want to decrease their national power. If possible, they want to observe from afar, as the Empire will be the only country that will be weakened. Such intention was obvious from every king in the room. Certainly, the scope of their activities is limited to the Empire. If their target is the Empire, then is it not the matter of having the Adventurer Guild moves their forces in to combat the threat? Don't you think so? Silver. Prince Lucian turned his cold eyes toward me. There is eeriness behind his gaze. But so what? For adventurers, eeriness is no reason to stop doing our job. Might. This word always comes up whenever a request is made to have us adventurers subjugate monsters. It might harm humans. It might be dangerous. Adventurers have always subjugated monsters whenever there are such possibilities involved. The reason behind our course of action is to prevent future damage. Are you aware of that, Prince Lucian? Naturally. Then you will accept this as well, right? Grimoire is currently relocating its bases to the kingdom. This might lead to a danger to the entire continent. That's why the Adventurer Guild will perform a thorough investigation in your country. This is to prevent any possible damage on the continent. So give up. Prince Lucian's expression went stiff at my words. The other kings also became slightly paler. One could say that this is outrageous. However, I once used that same reason to subjugate the holy dragons of the United Kingdom. They did not do anything yet back then, but it was possible that they might present a threat to the people of the Empire. The same is true for the demons. Their existence alone is already a threat. That's why we must destroy them. This is the lesson mankind learned 500 years ago. After all, if we leave them alone and their number started increasing, there is no guarantee that we can win this time. It is because their preparation is not ready yet that they are moving behind the scenes. That's why we must wipe them out while we can. Silver, are you saying that you doubt my country? Naturally. The kingdom will benefit if the Empire is weakened. Besides, the kingdom did take advantage of the rebellion in the Empire and invaded their border. This includes the Dominion and the United Kingdom as well. A criminal organization that has been attacking the Empire and a country that exploits the openings created by that criminal organization. It would not be a leap of logic to doubt that you may have joined hands with them, right? It is a basic of warfare for one country to attack another when they are weakened. You should understand this well. We do not want you to pry into our country's affairs. But you seem to be uncooperative. When a country that is currently under doubt acts that way, it can't be helped that our suspicion would deepen, no? If my country is truly cooperating with the demons, then we would have asked them for more help. We would not stop at such half-hearted assistance. We are already aware of the Empire's incoming attack after all. Once the existence of the demons is confirmed, the kingdom would be the first one to get suspected. After all, we have this meeting. If I truly did it, then I would not ask for only a half-baked cooperation. Using that reason, Prince Lucian tried to shut me down. However, if that is how he wants to play it then, I see. That is certainly sound. Let me apologize for the disrespect. But it is a fact that Grimoire has relocated to the kingdom. As wise as you are, Prince Lucian, you must know what is the best course of action for the continent. My country is currently at war with the Empire. If it is for the security of the continent, then there is no other choice. I will withdraw my army immediately. Father crushed Prince Lucian's escape route. After he glared at Father for a while, Prince Lucian sighed. All right. If the ceasefire is enacted, then I will allow the investigation. Do whatever you want. That's what he said. The Adventurer Guild will immediately dispatch personnel to investigate the matter, Your Majesty. It would be nice if your adventurers do not go wild in my country. The guild is always so rough. Can you promise that my land will be unharmed by the time you leave? That would depend on our opponent. We will do our best, Your Highness. We will dispatch personnel centered on 3 of our SS rank adventurers. Is there any objection? No objection came from the kings. At the moment, with Grimoire's bases located in the kingdom, it is obvious that we would start there. The war between the Empire and the kingdom, which was used as an excuse to refuse the investigation, will disappear if they enter a ceasefire. If the kingdom still insists on refusing the investigation, the kingdom might be seen as a country that cooperates with demons after all. However, once you succeed in destroying all of their bases, we will proceed with our war as we see fit. You don't mind that, right? Guild Chief. If everything is over, we will not interfere with either nation's affairs, Your Highness. You have my thanks. You heard him, Emperor. If that is the case, then my country will act as we fit as well. After everything is over, that is. Prince Lucian and Father are glaring at each other. A ceasefire is, after all, a ceasefire. Naturally, there would be a meeting for a peace treaty, but if the conditions do not satisfy both sides, there will be a rematch. And I do not think that the 2 of them will make peace. What are you going to do with the selection of the SS rank adventurers? Guild Chief. We will send Jack, Igor, and Linares, Your Majesty. No Name will take care of the east, and Silver, who has transfer magic, will remain on standby at the central part. That would be wise. It would trouble us if you want to dispatch No Name after all. What are you saying? I heard that your country has succeeded in developing a large-scale ceremonial magic, no? Moreover, it seems to be a transfer magic too. News travels fast, Her Celestial Princess. Yumu. I have great ears after all, Oriheim said as she proudly twitched her ears. On the other hand, Emperor Mikhail astoundedly replies. But it's still incomplete. The recoil is too great. It's not that I am completely against using it, but I want to avoid that as much as possible. Well, it's not like I will not consider it if you truly need No Name's aid. We might have to rely on you for that, Your Majesty. Clyde said that and bows to Emperor Mikhail. Then, well then, contact me again once the details are settled. I will withdraw my troops from the front line. I will do the same then. My messenger will arrive at the front line soon. Very well. I will look forward to it. Saying so, Prince Lucian's face disappeared, followed by Father. Seeing that, Emperor Mikhail also leaves, and the kings started leaving one after another. See you again, Silver. See you. I and Oriheim exchanged our goodbye. The only one left in their seat is only Roger. Thank you for your consideration, Guild Chief. It was an offer from His Majesty Johannes. If you want to be grateful, then please direct your gratitude toward the Empire. However, I am concerned about this secret talk between the United Kingdom and the Empire. It would be great if nothing bad happens. I do think that it will be okay, but only my king is privy to the content of their meeting. After saying that, Roger also disappeared. And thus concluded the summit. Chapter 433. King of the United Kingdom. After discussing future plans with Clyde, I returned to the imperial capital. By the time I arrived, the capital was already covered in the darkness of the night. Welcome back, sir. Did anything happen on this end? Anything changed? No, nothing in particular, sir. No one came to visit me. We made it appeared like Arnold-sama was asleep, so. I see. Ji-san probably had nothing to do here. While chuckling at that, I removed my mask. It's already late in the night. The people in the castle should already be sleeping as well. While I was thinking that, I looked at the castle's main gate from my window. After I strengthened my vision with magic, I saw that an entire corps of Imperial Knight was at the main gate for some reason. It is as if they are waiting for someone. Since it is a secret meeting, he chooses to arrive after nightfall here. Well, I guess he has no other choice. Is there a guest coming, sir? The King of the United Kingdom is giving us a secret visit. Someone else represented him at the summit. King of the United Kingdom, is it? It seems that he has been quite busy even though he has just managed to stabilize his country. He probably thinks that it would be best to improve the United Kingdom's relationship with the Empire as soon as possible. Still, he is a king of a country that we have been at war with until recently. It would be impossible for him to visit us publicly, so he chose to come here in secret. While saying so, I turned back and headed to the door. Do you have some kind of business with him, sir? Not with him. Then who? For the United Kingdom to improve their relationship with the Empire, there are still many problems that they must address. One of those problems is the members of the imperial family that are under their protection. That guy will never force a person under his protection to come here with him. However, on the negotiation table, this problem will always stand out from the rest. The blood of the imperial family is a treasure of the Empire after all. The fact that he came here directly means that my brother is with him. Please be careful with your words, sir. Just as Prince Gordon and Princess Sandra are no longer your brother and sister, you cannot treat someone who betrayed the imperial family as your brother. I don't want to listen to your sermon now. I can't leave this one alone. Saying so, I left the room accompanied by Sebaza's astounded sigh. In the corridor leading to the throne room. There, I was leaning against the wall, waiting for them to arrive. After a while, footsteps began to echo in the castle in the middle of the night. Quite a few people are heading in this direction. Illuminated by the faint light emitted by magic tools, the people I was waiting for arrived accompanied by the Imperial Knights. I never thought that you would come out here to greet me yourself, said the man with reddish blonde hair. His magenta-colored eyes were opened as if he was surprised. A man with a neat appearance who mysteriously gives off a wild atmosphere. Since you recently changed your position, I thought that I should give you a greeting, you see. 7th Prince of the Empire. Arnold Lakes Adler. I am already well aware of that. King of the United Kingdom of Eaglet. Dragon King William van Drummond. The new king of the United Kingdom who took control over all the Dragon Knights and conquered its royal capital in a short span of time. That is who William is right now. It was the former king and the first prince who got their country involved in the previous war. When they tried to pin all the blame on William, not only the Dragon Knights but most of their military took William's side. It seems that the former king could not put up much resistance. The former king and the first prince were put under house arrest in a remote region, and the United Kingdom was unified under William's rule, promoting him from the Dragon Prince to the Dragon King. You sure took care of us in the north, Arnold. I did not talk about this much, but I was fighting for my life back then. I kind of think of you like an old friend now. I see. For some reason, I trust you enough that I think of you as a friend too. That's why I know that you did not bring my brother here against his will. Behind William, there was a young man with a pale complexion. He has the same green hair as Zandaranu and a nervous-looking expression. His appearance hasn't changed a bit. However, he has a much more fearless look on him than before. Get out of our way, Arnold. Getting out of your way. You do understand that if you go on to meet father like this, what is waiting for you is only the poison wine, right? Henrik. 9th Prince of the Empire, Henrik Lakes Adler. After he joined Gordonanu, it was reported that he fled to the United Kingdom with William. The Empire does not forgive anyone who betrayed the imperial family. It's obvious what kind of fate is waiting for him here. Even so, I did not expect him to come here directly. I have already made up my resolve. Just abandon that kind of resolve already. Do you want to walk on the same path as your sister? I will accept the consequence of my betrayal. That would only give you self-satisfaction. Don't make father kill his own children any more than this. If you want to die, then just die by yourself. It is natural that he wants to take responsibility for his actions. He did what he did. However, it is not the same if he wants to make others do it for him. After all, even with the betrayal, he is still father's son. I have my reason. I will decide how to use my life. Like how you decided to betray us. And now you want father to punish you. If you want someone to punish you, then I will do it. Just die here. Thanks for the consideration. I know that you want to decrease the burden on father. I know that you don't want him to suffer because of me. As I thought, you are kind and smart. Nothing like me. If you understand that, then. Even so, I cannot choose the easy way out. I don't have the right to do that. Henrik tries to pass by me. At that moment, I grabbed his arm. It was strangely cold. You. Until my last moment. I am sorry for all the troubles I caused you. You. Henrik shook away his arm and headed straight to the throne room. William follows him. His mind is already set on it. He won't stop no matter what anyone says. I'm sorry. William muttered so. I can see that William has already tried to talk him out of it himself. After that, the Imperial Knights escort them to the throne room. I could only stare at his back as he leaves. Chapter 434. Henrik Lakes Adler. Throne room. Inside were Emperor Johannes and Prime Minister Franz. It's been a long time, Prince William. No, should I call you Dragon King William now? It has been a long time, Your Majesty. Since the rebellion her. Back then, I thought that I would never see you again. Me as well. I never thought that I would be able to meet Your Majesty face to face again. One was the emperor whose rule was rebelled against, and another was the person who helped orchestrate that rebellion. No matter the outcome, their positions made it difficult for them to meet each other again. However, through a twist of fate, they are once again in the same room together. As rulers of their respective nations, the United Kingdom of Eaglet wishes to express our sincere apology for our intervention during the Civil War. Everything happened due to the order from our former king. From now on, we hope that we can work together for a brighter future for both our countries. It is a tad bit too late for that, don't you think? The Civil War is already over, our invasion of the Dominion is completed, and we already scheduled a ceasefire with the kingdom. How would your country benefit us in an alliance this late in the game? The ceasefire agreement between you and the kingdom is only temporary. Once the demon crisis is resolved, there is no guarantee that the kingdom's hunger for power will disappear. After all, they did abandon the saint who was a symbol of their country in pursuit of their ambition. The war will surely continue. When the time comes, I offer my Dragon Knight's aid to the Imperial Army. You are going to break your alliance with the kingdom? The original plan was for the kingdom's army to break through the western border while we hold part of your forces in the north. With them unable to fulfill their end of the agreement, we see no meaning to continue it. Certainly, the Dominion and the United Kingdom did hold up your end of the deal. It is exactly as Emperor Mikhail said during the summit. You chose a poor ally. Well, one could say that you made that mistake though. Then we would appreciate it if you give us a chance to make up for it. The United Kingdom is an island country. No matter what kind of war is happening on the continent, they have the privilege to stay neutral. Additionally, they have a large number of Dragon Knights as their air force, giving them the ability to launch their attack on their enemy with no regard to the location, while their homeland is located in a place that is difficult to attack. It is better to keep them as an ally rather than turning them into an enemy. If we can forgive the Dominion, then we should be able to forgive the United Kingdom. However, it is up to you whether you earn this chance or not. Saying so, Johannes turned his eyes to the person who was behind William. Responding to that, Henrik stood up and came forward. Greeting, father. It has been a long time. Indeed. I can't stomach your audacity for showing your face here after your betrayal. Do you know how much blood has been shed because of your actions? It was all my fault for being so foolish. Exactly. You were always competing with Leonard and looked down on Arnold. You were in a position that can lead our people to fight the rebels. Unlike Xandra, You should have served the empire as a member of this imperial family. I expected that of you. Even so, you just went to join Gordon. How could you throw away your pride as a part of this family so easily? We have the respect of the people because we have the obligation to protect this country in the face of a crisis. You only took advantage of your privilege and turned your back to the citizens who needed you. Shame on you. Johannes expressed all the emotions he had been suppressing. He thought that Henrik was killed in the final battle like Gordon. Although Henrik had turned hostile toward him, he thought that his son had already paid for his mistake and made peace with it. However, Henrik couldn't even die while letting him think that he was only swept away by the situation. Fleeing from the imperial capital, fleeing from your battle, fleeing to the United Kingdom. You have done nothing but flee, haven't you? What did you come here for? Have you not disappointed me enough? You are not even the one I wish to see here. I already told you, King William. If you want me to let bygone be bygone, then bring me Gordon's wife and her daughter. The existence of Gordon's daughter was kept secret. She is the granddaughter of Emperor Johannes. And Johannes is already aware of her existence. That was why he ordered the army that went to pursue William to withdraw. The route should have been harsh enough for them. If he sent pursuers after them, then the child's life might be endangered. Everything was for the sake of his granddaughter's safety. Your Majesty, Gordon's daughter is being raised by her mother in my country. She doesn't know anything about Gordon. I think that we should allow her to live quietly. It is not your place to decide that. The blood of the imperial family is the treasure of the empire, not to mention that she is my first grandchild. I will never leave her upbringing to another country. Father. Johannes thought that he can pardon Henrik if it was for the sake of Gordon's daughter. Albeit being a traitor, Henrik was not a mastermind of the incident. He was only a coward who was swept away by the situation. Even if he left him alone, Henrik would not pose any danger. He does worry about his son, but it is just a matter of putting up some surveillance on him. What's more important is Gordon's daughter. Henrik decided to come here because he understood that intention from his letter. He realized that it was time to use his life. You have no right to call me father. Even so, I will. Father, please, settle this matter with my head. The world still doesn't know about Gordonaniu's daughter. Very few people know of her existence. It is obvious that she would have to suffer if she returned to the empire as the daughter of a rebel. Letting she lives in the United Kingdom without knowing anything would be for the best. It is the duty of the imperial family to leave behind our bloodline. That child is the only grandchild I have. As long as I have no other grandchildren, she must be within my reach. Please make a wise decision. Not as an emperor but as a father. No, as a grandfather. If she is raised up as the daughter of a rebel, eventually she will break. This is for the sake of the future. Father still has many sons left. You will have many grandchildren in the future. Please, overlook my niece. After saying all that in one go, Henrik's breath turns rough. And before anyone noticed, blood was already spilling from his mouth. He can no longer feel his body. Even so, Henrik turned forward. Henrik, I don't want to burden you, father. I am aware of my crimes. That's why I have already taken my own life. Stop speaking. Call a doctor. I won't let you selfishly die on your own like this. I still haven't heard your reply yet. As long as there is life in me, I will never move from this place. As worthless as it is, I decided to use my life here. Please allow Gordonaniu's daughter to live her life. Do you think that I will be moved if you put your life on the line? I do. You are kind, father. Even after my betrayal, if your son dies in front of you, you will move. I understand that it is cowardly of me to do this. But please listen to this last request from your son. The responsibility that comes with this blood is heavy. It would be for the best if she doesn't have to carry it. But if you cannot let her go, at least please wait until she turns 16. Only for the number of years I have lived. If she grows up and becomes someone who is worthy enough to bear the Adler name, she will be able to bear the responsibility placed upon her. Henrik bowed as he spitted out blood. Behind him, William also lowered his head. I'd like to ask this as well. I swear on the life of my friend, I will never use her for my own gain. Can you please believe in someone who has already gone to war for the sake of his friend? Why do you go that far? Is Gordon's daughter that important to you? I have a pain in my heart. It was the pain of losing a family. I could only watch as Gordon charged into the Imperial army. I could only watch. I still can't forget that pain. I allowed countless people to experience that same pain. I've abandoned many soldiers on the battlefield and dropped them into hell. Those people had their own family. That's why. I have to at least protect my family, so that I can turn myself into someone that those people can be proud of. I am not going to kill her. Sometimes you can prefer to be killed rather than continue living. If people found out that she is the daughter of a rebel, her life might be targeted. Also, even if father has no intention of killing her, the others do not feel the same way. If someone tries to use her, there may be others who wish to kill her. Hiding her existence is also for her own protection. I can't let her stay in the Empire. Please, make a wise decision. Henrik says that with a smile, because he already knew what his kind father is going to do. All right. Gordon had no daughter and his wife is already dead. That is enough, right? Thank you, Anne. I'm sorry. I couldn't make you proud. But please rest assured, you still have other sons to be proud of. With that said, Henrik slowly closed his eyes. His vision has gone dark, and pleasant darkness welcomed him. Chapter 435. The Freezing Poison. The next time I saw Henrik, his skin had already turned deep blue and he was being carried away by the Imperial Knights. What happened? It appears that he took a poison himself, Your Highness. Can he be saved? There is already nothing we can do. The poison has already circulated through his body. I was frustrated by the Imperial Knight's answer. Anyone can say that there is nothing to be done, but is it not the Imperial Knight's duty to find a way to do something? Those words overflowed in my heart, but I didn't say them out loud, because I knew that they truly do not know how to save him. There, Sebas quietly called out to me. The poison he drank is probably the freezing poison, sir. I couldn't do anything but nod to his analysis. The freezing poison is not as terrible as the emperor poison wine, but it is still known to be extremely powerful. If you drink it, your body will become terrifyingly cold, and starting from your internal organs, your body will start to get corroded. In the end, the drinker will die while suffering from the change in their body and the freezing coldness that emanated from inside their body. This poison will remain in the drinker's body until they die. If it was at an early stage, then there might be something to be done, but it is already too late as the poison has circulated through his body. Excuse us, Your Highness. We must bring him to the medical ward. Henrik is still alive, but he is only waiting for death. While watching him being carried to the medical ward, I quietly ask Sebas a question. Sebas, can you save Henrik? I am no doctor, sir, but you are good at killing people, right? I see. It would be difficult, but it's worth trying. However, what will you do with him once he is killed, sir? I have something in mind. Anyway, can I count on you? There will be Imperial Knights at his side. It would be hard to kill him without sending them away first, sir. I will do something about them. Understood. With that said, Sebas disappeared. He probably went to get ready. After seeing him off, I followed Henrik to the medical ward. By this time, father should be setting the terms for the peace treaty with William at the throne room. In the end, the United Kingdom is a defeated country. They have no choice but to accept every condition that is favorable to the Empire, so it shouldn't be a difficult meeting. William should be prepared to accept such disadvantageous conditions to some extent. That's why the window of time we have is not that long. Your Highness Arnold. Is Henrik inside? Yes. Can you give me some time alone with him? But, no matter how foolish he was, he is still my brother. I want to give him a good send-off. Hearing that, the Imperial Knights nodded. The Imperial Knights who were standing guard inside the room also left. With the poison already circulated through his whole body, there is nothing that can be done for him. The Imperial Knights were only monitoring him to see the moment he passes. There is no cure. That's why they let me be alone with him. Henrik, who is lying on the bed, already looked like a dead person. He is still barely breathing, but he is not conscious. Drinking the poison yourself. That's not like you, you know. He must have learned a lot from the war. From a naive royalty, he became someone that can see things realistically. That would be something worth celebrating if not for the fact that he is lying here, waiting for his death. Sorry for the delay, sir. Get it done. Yes, sir. Sebas quickly started working. He fed Henrik multiple kinds of medicines and stuck several acupuncture needles into Henrik's body. What he is basically doing now is killing Henrik. To be more precise, he is putting Henrik in a state of suspended animation. The freezing poison will not leave his body until he dies. Right now, to save his life, we have no choice but to kill him. Are you sure about this? If this goes wrong, he will truly die, sir. If you don't want to do it, then I will do it myself. He will die anyway if I do nothing. This task is very delicate. I will do it. However, even in the slight chance that he wakes up again, his body will barely be able to function though. I know. Hearing my answer, Sebas sticks the last needle into Henrik. Henrik's body convulsed for a moment. And then he stopped moving as if he had lost all power. I think that it is a success, sir. Then get out of here. I have to put on an act now. Please do your best to not raise any suspicion. Who do you think you are talking to? Sebas smiles and leaves the room. Only Henrik and I were left inside. I quietly close my eyes. The sadness stemmed from the feeling of helplessness rising up from my chest. Allowing myself to get swept away by emotions, I let myself get more and more unstable. Then, a big teardrop spilled from my eyes. Just like that, I went to Henrik's side and grabbed his hand. Henrik. I screamed his name out loud as tears kept spilling from my eyes. Hearing my voice, the Imperial Knights entered the room in a hurry. Then, they understand what happened. Your Highness. Cast healing magic on him. Please. Forgive me. The apologetic voice of the Imperial Knight echoed in the room. Then, I slowly stood up. Your Highness. I'm going to inform Father. His Majesty is still in the middle of a meeting, Your Highness. Do you think I care? Shaking off the Imperial Knight's restraints, I ran to the throne room. When I opened the door to the throne room, I found Father, the Prime Minister, and William inside. They all look at me. There, I started to speak to them in a small voice. Henrik is dead. Just how many more of our family do we have to lose? Hearing my question, Father quietly gazes up. With no answer from him, I took a step forward. Can you at least tell me? Why did Henrik have to die? Because he betrayed us. There must be other reasons. He must have had his reason for drinking the poison and came to you, Father. King William. Can you settle the rest of the details with my Prime Minister? Understood. Yes, Your Majesty. Father made the two withdraw from the room. Then, how much do you know? Nothing. Sebas happened to notice the Imperial Knights at the main gate, so we noticed Henrik's arrival. Henrik made a certain request to me. It is a state secret. But with the achievements you have raised so far, I will trust you with it. Gordon has a daughter. I have a niece. She is my granddaughter as well as yours and Henrik's niece. I see. I can mostly understand now. The reason why Henrik came all the way here. To treat it as if she doesn't exist. Was that what Henrik came here to ask? I was planning to bring her back here. Leaving the blood of the imperial family in the care of another country is dangerous. Any emperor of our country would come to the same decision. But Henrik used his life to stop that. He thought that I would be moved if he did that, you see. Did you? I did. Would you laugh at my decision? I would if the reason behind it was only because you got sentimental. Chimph. Right now, the Empire is a dangerous place. There are only a few people I can trust. Especially when you and Traugott have to leave for the Dominion. The imperial family is clearly under attack. When Henrik told me that he couldn't allow her to stay in the Empire, I thought that I should be prepared in case of an emergency. To split up our bloodline in case something happens to the imperial family, I have already given that task to Traugott. But we still need an insurance. That is a different thought process than the past emperors. Every emperor took it upon themselves to make sure that the imperial bloodline continued within the empire. However, now it is clear that we are under attack. If we continue to put that limit on ourselves, it is possible that our bloodline might be erased. Splitting up our bloodline can diversify that risk. Naturally, that choice is also accompanied by the possibility that others will make use of our bloodline for their own gain. However, there is no such thing as a risk-free option. So Henrik's life wasn't in vain? Perhaps my way of thinking is already obsolete. Until Henrik brought it up, I thought that I must raise her up myself. That I must not entrust our blood to another country. Father's way of thinking should still hold in a time of peace. But our situation right now is hardly peaceful. And William is a trustworthy king. As long as he is reigning, I don't think that we will have a problem from the United Kingdom. Rather than William's reign, having me step down from the throne would be faster, right? This matter of Gordon's daughter, I will leave it to you. To tell or not tell the next emperor about this, the decision is yours. You are leaving this to me. That's right. And since that is the responsibility placed upon you, do not die on me. With that said, Father tiredly stood up from the throne. Before he left, I asked him a question. We can't hold a funeral for Henrik, right? That would be impossible. Then, can you leave his funeral to me? Yeah, I will leave it to you. Father left the throne room with a sad smile. That smile hurt my heart. Now, Father has lost 3 sons and 1 daughter. He also lost 3 of his consorts. It's not strange that he is depressed. That's why. I will not lose any more of my family. I left the throne room with that quiet whisper. Chapter 436. Your worth. Where? Henrik woke up in a small hut. We are in my training ground. Silver. Why are you? No, how am I? I put you in a state of suspended animation to let the poison leave your body. After everyone thought that you were dead, I brought you here. I see. So you faked my death. Was it on Father's order? No, I did it of my own free will. I don't want to see any more of my family die, you see. Saying so, I removed my mask in front of Henrik. Henrik was surprised by the face underneath, but soon, a smile floated upon his face. I see. So that's why you hide your identity. I never thought that it would be you. Arnold. I don't mind if you call me Anu, you know. That's a once-in-a-lifetime thing. You won't hear it a second time. Is that right? Well, it's not like I want you to call me that anyway. While saying that, I opened the book that was on the desk. Then, good grief, it really is cramped in there. You used to live in there all the time, right? Bear with it, Ji-san. W.H. What? A halfling? No, a fairy? You think there's a fairy looking like this? How rude. Well, allow me to introduce myself, 9th Prince Henrik. I am Gustav Lakes Adler, your great-grandfather. The Mad Emperor? How? With one reveal after another, Henrik doesn't seem to be able to keep up. So, I briefly explained things to Henrik. He's the one who taught me magic. A demon hijacked his body and laid waste to the capital until it was put down by the brave, but his spirit was sealed inside a book. That's why he's still alive. My head hurts just by hearing it. The Mad Emperor is still alive. He is also Silver's master, and Silver is Arnold. Good grief. What a slow child. This may take some time. We don't have much time. Please get him ready as soon as possible. Henrik was left behind as I and Ji-san proceeded with the talk. Thinking that it would be a problem if he doesn't understand what's going to happen to him, Henrik raises a question. Whoa, wait a minute. What are you talking about? Your training, of course. My training. I am leaving the imperial capital. Of course, I can come back in no time, but I have to know what's going on here. To be honest, I am short on helpers. You will become my eyes and ears here. Me? Don't make me laugh now. There's no way that someone like me can be useful to Silver, right? I am the shame of the imperial family. It's me who people should call the dull prince. My brothers and sisters already have all the good points after all. Even so, you belong to the imperial family. Just do what you can. Besides, you want to protect our niece, right? Leaving her protection to someone else. Did you think that you are allowed to be that selfish? You protect her. Henrik looked depressed hearing my words. He looked like he doesn't have the will to do anything. Even though he used to have so much groundless confidence in the past, he has no confidence in himself whatsoever now. Truly a dull person. What can I do? Whether it be on the battlefield or a political game, I am completely useless. You should be the one who understands that the most. That's why you need to train. Ji-san here is a first-class leader, you know. He did not read all these books for nothing after all. Even with training, someone like me won't be of any use. You should count on someone else. It doesn't have to be me, right? Do you think the secret of silver is that cheap? Only Ji-san, Sebas, Finn, and the SS rank adventurer Jack know this secret. The fact that I shared this secret with you should already say that I have no one else to rely on. To save you, this is the only way. So just think of that and cooperate with me. Give me your best, all right? I never asked anyone for help. That was how I chose to use my life. What do you expect by telling me to live now? I am worthless. You are not worthless. If you think that you have no worth right now, then hone yourself. Get the power to fight. Get the wisdom to play the political games. As a member of the imperial family, you certainly have nothing special to boast about. But your abilities are balanced. Whatever the task is, you can do them reasonably well, right? Does that have any meaning? No matter what I do, I will always be inferior to everyone else, you know. Then make sure that you have something that surpasses others. At least, right now you have something that has already surpassed me and Leo. Me. Surpassed. That's right. The enemy's aim is the empire and the imperial family. They will focus their eyes on the surviving members of our family. That's why you who supposedly died are not on their radar. You can freely make your move. That's where you surpassed us, and that's why I want you to be my collaborator. You have already died once. Break away from your past self and become a new person. I expect a lot from you, you know? Henrik was insipid. He made his resolve and tried to shine bright in his last moment. In fact, when he was told that he is still alive, he only gets confused, and when I told him to do his best, he repeatedly said that he can't. But I would be troubled if he doesn't give me his best. It is a fact that I do not have enough hands on deck right now, and with one more collaborator, there will be a lot more I can do. Expecting something of me. You do know that a lot of people had already done the same and turned out disappointed, right? Don't you think that you will be the same? Maybe. But it's also possible that you might be the first who overcomes my expectations. Do not look down on yourself so much. At the very least, you managed to influence the future of 2 countries and protect your niece. That alone is plenty of good work. Even like this, all I want to do is to live quietly, you see. But unfortunately, this world is not so peaceful. I need your help to do that, Henrik. I won't take any responsibility if you end up disappointed in me, all right? I know how useless I am. But if you are fine with that, then I will cooperate with you. As expected of my little brother. Saying so, I patted Henrik's head. Stop that, yelled Henrik as he tried to swat my hand away, but it seems he has become livelier than before. Apparently, I managed to motivate him. So, what should I do now? First, train under Ji-san. After that, make your move according to his instructions. Well, the first order of business would be curing yourself, though. We don't have time for that. I can just... Henrik tried to get out of the bed, but he lost his balance. While supporting his body, I returned Henrik to the bed. Don't push yourself. That's right. Your body is being forcefully kept alive after all. What do you mean? The freezing poison may have left your body, but the damage it dealt to your body still remains. Your current body temperature should be so low that any normal human being is unable to survive. Your body functions are being supported by magic tools. Your internal organs also suffered considerable damage. You will have to rely on elixir for a while to recover from this. Your body will not be completely healed. You will have a body that requires the use of magic tools and elixirs to stay alive. No sugar coating at all, her. Do you prefer it that way? No. Giving it to me directly is better. If I do something wrong, then please be direct with me. I have been living my life with no one to tell me that after all. No, I guess I just didn't listen enough. So you will listen to me, her. Well, I have a lot of secret magic tools stashed here. Since Arnold doesn't use them much, they are all covered in dust. For now, I will make sure you can go toe-to-toe with the Imperial Knights. Please give me your guidance. Your Majesty. No, Master. Yumu. Perhaps he was happy to be treated with respect for the first time in a long while. Ji-san proudly pushed his chest up. Good grief. I really can't tell that this person used to be an emperor. Well, Ji-san, I'm counting on you here, all right? Leave him to me. Are you going to the Dominion now? I have no other choice. But before that, I have to attend a strategy meeting at the Adventurer Guild. I hope we can put an end to this soon. It won't. If that organization can be caught that easily, then they would have been destroyed a long time ago. Right. While nodding to Ji-san's opinion, I left the hut. A huge lake spreads out in front of the hut, surrounded by forests. Furthermore, there's a concealment barrier covering this entire area, allowing no interference from the outside. As I proceeded, a large mirror stood alone on the path. That is the only entrance to this place. You can only access this area by using this magic tool. I passed through the mirror and arrived at Ji-san's secret room in the castle. Thank you for your hard work, sir. How did it go? Smoothly. It should be okay to leave him in Ji-san's care. It's fortunate that Gustav-sama became very cooperative when he heard that the demons have begun to move in earnest, isn't it? That person was wronged by the demons too, after all. Well, I think that he has been planning to have his payback for a long time though. Saying so, I left the room with Sebas. Chapter 437. Truce. The Empire's western border. Leo, who is in charge of the army that is repelling the kingdom's invasion, is having a face-to-face meeting with a messenger from the imperial capital. A ceasefire? Yes. This decision was made at the summit of the Wise Kings. His Majesty wishes to withdraw our forces on the front line immediately, Your Highness. And in case the kingdom doesn't do the same, I believe that they will be attacked by the full force of the Adventurer Guild. Leo nods several times as he listens to the messenger. Then, he gives his answer. Understood. After that, Leo dismisses the messenger. Then, what do you think about this? Letitia. About how the kingdom will respond? Leo, asked Letitia, who was waiting in the next room as she walked over to Leo. In response, Leo calmly answers her. No matter how stubborn the crown prince is, I don't think he will go against the decision of the summit of the Wise Kings. He would be turning the entire continent into his enemy after all. That would normally be the case, but the kingdom's attitudes so far were anything but normal. Even after the Dominion and the United Kingdom, which were their allies, withdrew from the battle, they never let up on their offensive. I wonder where they got so much confidence from. Perhaps they think that they would be fine as long as it is a one-on-one fight with the Empire. You think that they do not expect the SS rank adventurers to intervene? Probably. While listening to Letitia's opinion, Leo ponders on a question with his arms crossed. A trump card that can put the Empire in check. What can it possibly be? Leo couldn't help but worry as he can't get rid of this unpleasant premonition. Then, Letitia put her hand on Leo's shoulder. I understand that you are anxious. But right now I think that the only thing we can do is follow the order. That's true. Let's recall our troops back from the front line. After that, I might get called back to the imperial capital though. Leo puts his hand on Letitia's. Leo, who was in charge of the northern war front, couldn't be close to Letitia for some time. When he was finally assigned to the western front and got to be near Letitia, the situation suddenly changed again. It can't be helped. We are in the middle of war after all. I planned to end this as soon as possible, but I'm sorry. There's nothing that you have to apologize for. Did you not end the civil war in the north and came all the way here? That is already enough for me. But it is not enough for me. Even if you say that. The number of refugees from the kingdom is gradually increasing. I have to stay here to unite them. I started to resent the fact that we have our roles to fulfill now, you know. Leo sighs as he pulls Letitia's hand closer to his chest. Losing her balance, Letitia lets out a small scream and falls toward Leo. Just like that, Leo put Letitia on his lap. What's wrong? If they call me back to the capital, I want you to come with me. Please don't be unreasonable. I will be depressed alone, you know. Leo sighs as he tightly hugs Letitia. They stay like that for a while. Then, Letitia astoundedly speaks to Leo in a small voice. It's no good to act too selfishly, right? It's just a small wish. Then if I say that I will be lonely, will you stay? You are. Of course, I will stay. I will write a formal letter to father that I won't go back because Letitia will be lonely. Please don't write such an embarrassing letter. As I thought, please go. No way. I don't know if I can say that it will be safe here, but the crown prince will never give up. I'm sure that the kingdom and the empire will clash again. This ceasefire is surely the calm before the storm. I wonder when this will end. Leo murmured. The conflict is only getting fiercer and fiercer. He was determined when he joined the succession war, but the conflict gradually turned into a war between great nations of the continent. When will this end? When will he be able to end it? This endless battle is wearing down on Leo. It will, someday. War is inseparable from mankind. Indeed, mankind always has a war to fight. But no war lasts forever. That's why I'm sure that it will end someday. I don't know when it will, but I hope I can end it soon. If it's Leo, then you can do it. When you say it like that, it makes me feel like I can really do it, you know. Leo said that with a smile. After finishing their conversation, Letitia tries to get off Leo's lap, but Leo's arms are still wrapped around her. Why are you getting off? Because it's embarrassing. Please let go. What would you do if someone saw us? There's no problem even if we are seen, right? Are you not embarrassed at all? You don't really have to worry about that though. The Imperial Knights are being mindful of us, so they won't just barge in anyway. Right. Captain Lambert. Leo asks Lambert, captain of the 6th Imperial Knight Corps, who was assigned to the Western Front as well after his success in the North. Then, a reply came from the other side of the door. Of course, Your Highness. Your enjoyment will not be disturbed. His voice had a faint trace of laughter. Hearing that, Letitia's face immediately turned red. While enjoying her reaction, Leo gave an order to Lambert. Please give our soldiers on the front line the order to withdraw. I can't move from this place at the moment. As you wish. All right, now we have time. Shall we stay like this for a while? Increasing the strength in his arms, Leo firmly hugged Letitia with a grin on his face. Tell our men on the front line to withdraw. The Empire will withdraw theirs as well. After giving a brief instruction to his men, Prince Lucian of the Palan Kingdom returned to his room. It was unexpected that an investigation would be launched on his country by the summit of the Wise Kings. Now he has no choice but to change his plan. The SS rank adventurers will be coming. Do not count on any help from me now, all right? Of course. Please rest assured, Your Highness. Lucian nods to the reply that came from the wall. There is a limit to what he can do now. It would be best if he doesn't have to make his move during the investigation. I will leave the rest to you. It is still too early to deal with the SS rank adventurers now. You got that? Understood. The voice from the wall came from a shadow. That shadow was initially humanoid, but eventually, it changed into one of a bird and flew away from the room. After seeing it off, Lucian sighs. Then, I accepted your challenge. Adler. He muttered as he looked in the direction of the Empire. Section. Audiobook by Masquerade at Masquerade Audiobooks. Arc 41. Chapter 438. SS Rank Meeting. This way, please. Adventurer Guild, the Imperial Capital Branch. At the remote communication room located in its basement. I was guided to that room, which normally only reserves for the summit of the Wise Kings. The reason I am here is to attend a meeting which has the importance equivalent to that of a summit. When the guild staff finished her preparation, Clyde's image emerged from the crystal. I am the first to arrive. Do you think that your colleagues are the type that shows up on time? Can't say I do. Clyde tiredly sighed. Still, those guys do possess enough power to compensate for their quirks. After a moment, an image of a big muscular guy emerged from a crystal. He has long lilac-colored hair and eyes of the same color. His skin is spotlessly white and his face was applied with light makeup. A person whose gestures are feminine but has a masculine appearance. The guy who possesses the most intense personality out of all the SS rank adventurer. Error. Am I not the first? What a shame, Linares. How many times do I have to repeat this to you? Call me Lena, Silver, replied one of the SS rank adventurers as well as the strongest martial artist on the continent. The bipolar divine fist, Linares. Lena. How was the singularity in Rondine? No abnormality detected. It's close to the sea, so it's actually great, you know. My condolences. Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's my job as an SS rank adventurer after all. I won't just refuse your call because I want to stay there, Linares said with a pout. He is probably dissatisfied that he couldn't stay there a little longer. Linares, who usually base himself in places with high magic power called singularities, was surveying one that was located in the Principality of Rondine. It probably felt like a vacation to him, and that was interrupted by this emergency meeting. No one would actually refuse a summon like this though. I wonder about that. We have a lot of insane members after all. A black-masked figure appeared along with the voice. The voice was too high for a man and too low for a woman. That is probably one of the effects of the mask. An SS rank adventurer who based herself in the Sokol Empire. The strongest magic swordsman on the continent. The Void Crusher No Name. An extreme person who will always give her top priority to the strengthening of her magic sword. You are aware that you are one of those insane people, right? That should apply to you as well, Silver. I am self-aware about that. I have that awareness as well. It's just that I think that I am still better than the others. We are the same then. I wouldn't be so sure. Who has more common sense? I was about to argue my case, but before that, another SS rank adventurer appeared. Heave-ho. Oh, it seems that everyone's already here. You are late. Elder Igor. Come on, you should praise me instead since I managed to show up at all. I'm glad that you managed to arrive at your nearest branch safely, Elder Igor. Sorry for making you worried, Guild Chief. I have a caretaker to take care of me these days, you see. It is truly wonderful. I am so grateful for that person that wants to give her a commendation immediately. Clyde is not exaggerating. This elderly dwarf is an SS rank adventurer who could never grasp where he is. A swordsman who roams the continent by relying on only the voices that call for his help. The lost sword Saint Igor. It's truly a big thing that he did not get lost this time. It can be said that accurately locating him is something that the Adventurer Guild failed to do for hundreds of years. Just by her feat of holding the reins on Igor, Sonia could be called a person that contributes to the peace of the continent itself. Especially in a case of emergency like this time. Only one left her. As I thought, that man really is the worst of us, isn't he? I don't like tardy men though. Come on now, it's fine even if he's a little late, right? Since everyone would normally be waiting for him in a meeting like this, only Elder Igor went easy on him. I asked him to do a small job for the guild. He's probably late because of that. Asking him to do a job? Don't you think that you chose the wrong person? Sorry, I was late. Almost at the same time as when No Name muttered her comment, the last person finally arrived. However, his appearance was a little different from everyone's expectations. His unkempt brown hair is cleanly combed, and his disorderly stubble is now beautifully shaved. His sloppy clothes were replaced with a tidy outfit, and he is giving off the opposite impression from the one that he usually gives. Error. Exactly my type. People can really change her. Perhaps lacking in self-awareness, the person himself is confused by the reactions from those around him. However, he quickly switched over and gave his report. Guild Chief, I've done the reconnaissance of the area you requested. There were some suspicious places, but since you told me it's a scout mission, I left them alone. Thank you, Jack. His divine skill is admired by every archer on the continent. It is said that he is capable of shooting down even targets that yet to enter his sight, but his actual archery skill is even above that reputation. The wandering bow god Jack. Right now, his appearance was one of his early days as an adventurer. Very well, let's start the SS rank adventurers meeting. First, I have something to tell you all, said Clyde as he signaled Jack with his eyes. Like that, everyone's attention was focused on Jack. After confirming that he has everyone's attention, Jack started speaking. I will take command of the Grimoire subjugation team in the kingdom. No objection, all right? I was in charge of the kingdom after all. Until now, he would have left that task to someone else because it was troublesome. Now, Jack is taking the initiative of taking over the command himself. A daughter really is something special, her. No objection. Synopsis. I don't mind. I am not involved with the operation, so if the other two are fine with it, then I have no complaints. That decided it then. And thus, it was decided that Jack would take command of the Grimoire subjugation team. Chapter 439. Adventurers. Jack, Igor, and Lina will participate in the investigation. Silver will remain on standby in the Empire in case of emergency, and No Name will be on the lookout in Sokol in case something happens in the east. Understood. But when it comes to investigating Grimoire's bases, I don't think these three will be enough. Two of them are not suited for investigation after all. I'm not gonna deny that. I don't think that I can even get myself to the kingdom in the first place. Of course, I will be requesting some personnel from the guild to help with the investigation. It's impossible if I have to do it alone after all, Jack astoundedly said in a small voice. Those two are the biggest muscle brains of the SS rank adventurers after all. It's not that they are stupid or anything. It's just that they find careful investigation to be troublesome, so they would just destroy anything that smells suspicious to them. It should be quite difficult to follow up for these two alone. I have already begun recruiting personnel for the subjugation team. There will be 5 S-rank adventurers, 10 AAA ranks, and several support staff. I will assign them under the 3 of you to take care of the investigation. Even if you assign that many to us, it would be meaningless if they turn out useless, you know. Don't worry. When it comes to investigation, they would be more reliable than you guys. You can just remain on standby until the demons show up. Come on, you don't have to say it like that. It makes us look like we are only useful in a fight, doesn't it? Right. Elder Igor. Right. Then prove me wrong on the field. Even with my survey, the number of suspicious places I discovered is still quite a lot. Scouting them out first is important. If we don't do it properly, they might get away after all. If we let them escape, they will surely go into hiding. Failure is not an option. Sending in this many SS rank adventurers is unprecedented for the Adventurer Guild. That alone should give you an idea of how important this mission is. That's why I want you all to keep that in mind as you make your move. Everyone nodded to Clyde's words. A profession called adventurer has existed for a long time. However, it has been only for 500 years that adventurers are organized like this. An organization that combats the monster threat from a neutral position. An organization that can unite the countries against a common threat and serves as a gathering place for individuals with abnormal power. The guild was established with that purpose in mind. And it actually worked. Because the guild is there to mobilize and organize individual adventurers, the continent is not plunged into chaos. After all, without the guild, the empire would have launched an immediate invasion of the kingdom. But how did this organization successfully establish itself in the first place? The answer is none other than mankind's fight against the demons. Because people fear the demons, the guild was established to combat them and prepare for their return. That's the kind of organization the Adventurer Guild is. Very well. For the people. I expect you all to do your best. The meeting was concluded with Clyde's closing words. The details should be hashed out by Jack and Clyde later. This time there is a clear division of roles. These guys won't be able to act properly unless someone spelled it out for them after all. Thinking so, I left the basement and went up to the Imperial Capital branch above. Thank you for your work, Silver-san. It's not tiring this time. The problem children are all grown up now after all. Emma, the receptionist who usually takes care of me, smiles bitterly at my reply. A normal receptionist can't treat SS rank adventurers like problem children after all her. Well, it can't be helped I guess. By the way, I am thinking of clearing all the accumulated quests. If there are quests that you want me to take care of, then let me know. You will take care of them. There has been so much going on in this country that I didn't get the chance to accept any quest. Give me the high-ranked ones, I will take care of them. Thank you very much. The high-ranked quests have been accumulating lately since no one takes care of them. Emma excitedly started preparing the quests for me. It must have been hard on her. Well, that is on me though. Guild staff usually keep the high-ranked quests for me since I always give my priority to them, and the other adventurers wouldn't touch it because they think that Silver will take care of them anyway. Because of that, the cycle where high-ranked quests keep accumulating until I take care of them was made. Well, since there are gradually more and more excellent adventurers here, this cycle will be broken soon. Oh, that's Silver, isn't it? An adventurer saw me and called out. Apparently, the guild was hosting a welcome party for new adventurers today. The old men are offering alcohol to the newcomers who look like they are still boys and girls. Someone would have called the city guards already if this is hosted outside the adventurer guild. The newbie adventurers seem to be confused by all the merrymaking. Is it fine to not stop them? They wouldn't stop even if we try. Emma sighs. It seems that they are already getting carried away by alcohol. As long as they have a reason to get noisy, anything goes for these guys after all. Silver, we have newbies joining us today. You say something too. That's right. Say something. There's a lot of newbies today, you know. Ha ha ha. Good grief. Dealing with drunk people really is troublesome her. I obediently head over. These newbies should be around 15 years old her. No, maybe even younger than that. 2 boys and 1 girl. They are looking at me nervously. Are you Silver-san, the SS rank adventurer? That's right. I came to the Imperial Capital because of you, Silver-san. Me too. 2 of them extend their hands out to me. I shook each of their hands and looked at the last boy. This boy seems to have a strong will. Suddenly, the boy pointed his finger at me. He then declared in a slightly quivering voice, Silver, I will surpass you someday. I will become an adventurer that can carry this Imperial Capital branch. In response to the boy's reckless remark, the other 2 newbies hurriedly tried to apologize in his place. However, the adults around them all cheerfully laugh. Good. Say it more. I'm looking forward to seeing you surpass Silver. Don't laugh at me. I'm serious. Perhaps the boy felt like he was made fun of. He yelled at them. However, that's probably useless. After all, none of them were making fun of him. No matter how serious you are, it is still unrealistic for a low-ranked adventurer to say that. You think that I can't do it? If I tell you to give up, will you? If you only have that much resolve, then don't do it in the first place. Shut up. There's no way I'm giving up. Then start by getting stronger. Overtake your seniors one by one and challenge me again. I put my hand on the boy's head and pat it. I then headed toward Emma and received the quests from her. Watch over him for me. Make sure that he doesn't push himself too much. Please leave him to me. It's my job as a receptionist to manage adventurers after all. I'm counting on you. I will finish these quests soon. I will be free until the result of the kingdom investigation comes out anyway. Saying so, I left the branch office. Chapter 440. Since I'm free. Traugut's wedding will be after the Adventurer Guild's investigation in the kingdom is completed. Once that is over, you will depart for the Dominion. Father decreed. In other words, my departure to the Dominion will be after the kingdom investigation is finished. That means I will have some free time until then. Is there nothing I have to do? The quests that had been accumulated at the Imperial Capital branch were all finished the other day, and you have almost no princely duty to attend to until your departure, sir. What about Leo's subordinates? Leonard core staff team is already on site with him and the rest are refraining from making their move during wartime, sir. I see. So, what's their actual reason? Perhaps they are too scared to bring reports to Arnold-sama since they had been ridiculing you as the dull prince for so long, sir. Regarding our current situation, there have been no major problems that require your attention, so I think that it would be fine to leave them alone. Good grief. Well, when the time comes when they truly want my attention, they will probably run crying to Finn anyway. And that's that. I'm free. There's nothing to do. I have done everything that I can for the time being, and there is not enough time left for me to make a major move. I guess I will just have to find something to do, right? Making your moves half-heartedly is dangerous, sir. I believe the correct answer here is to do nothing. If anything, it will be the other side that makes their move first. The other side? I mean the people that need you, sir. The moment Sebas said that, someone knocked on my door. It has been a long time, Your Highness Arnold. Long time indeed, Earl Bales. It seems you have been quite busy ever since your promotion to the Minister of Engineering, right? Why, yes. Many places were damaged from the war, so I was busy with all the reconstruction. The man who came to me was a plain man in his 30s. Earl Bales, who was promoted to the position of Minister of Engineering. He was one of the busiest ministers, so he was rarely in the imperial capital. After all, the empire had suffered damage in all regions. I heard that he had been traveling all over the country because of that. It seems to be his style to see what he has to work with using his own eyes. Things were happening one after another after all. I heard that in addition to your duties, you also went around to meet the nobles all over the empire for us, right? We must have put you through some hardship, No. This is to put His Highness Leonard on the throne. I do not think of that as hardship at all. As a person who holds the position of a minister that does not base himself in the capital, he is a very convenient ally to Leo. After all, he had been traveling all over the empire and recruited more nobles to join Leo's faction. Having a connection with a minister is important for rural aristocrats. This is especially true for those that want to relocate to the central part of the empire. So, what kind of business do you have with me today? That is. Looking nervous, Earl Bales has been wiping sweat from his face using his handkerchief. I have a favor to ask of you, Your Highness. Say it. Actually, I was attending a matchmaking. Can you please come with me? Unintentionally, my face stiffened. Among all the ministers of the empire, he is the only one who would make such a pathetic request to a prince. It made me feel like an idiot trying to anticipate what he wanted from me. I'm getting tired all of a sudden. Why do you need me at your matchmaking? I am having a slight headache. Perhaps because I have been used to dealing with complicated stuff lately. Somehow I can't take this problem seriously at all. However, it seems that this is very important to him. Actually, the other party is the daughter of Marquis Pricesale. Marquis Pricesale is a well-known aristocrat. To be precise, the well-known one is his wife. Rumor has it that all of the domestic matters of House Pricesale are completely under the control of the lady of the house. During my work with Marquis Pricesale, we hit it off. And he told me that he wanted me to try meeting his daughter by all means. But it seems that he kept that a secret from his wife. It's the Marquis's fault for not consulting with his wife first. That is true, but it seems that the lady doesn't think that this is a bad marriage either, so she wanted me to give her proof that I truly belong to His Highness Leonard's faction. She implied that she will allow her daughter to have this matchmaking with me if I can prove myself. Seriously. This person really is extreme. Lady Pricesale didn't tell him to bring me to her either. At best, she probably only wanted him to show that he indeed has close relationships with the nobles of Leo's faction. Maybe something like an item or letter from Leo should do the job. I can imitate Leo's handwriting and write a letter. There might be a problem afterward, sir. I have no choice, sir. I sighed and got up from the chair. Oh, oi. The Earl has been gone for a while now. Did you make Earl Bales angry? If he got angry with only that much, then that's that. We are in the middle of the succession war. Even if he is a minister, if he doesn't belong to a faction, then his future is not secure either. A loud voice could be heard from the room. Earl Bales started trembling at the voice. With the case of his ex-wife, it seems that he is not good at dealing with strong-willed women. Well then. Earl Bales touches the door and looks at me. There's no use asking for a timeout after coming this far, her. I nodded at the Earl and he entered the room. Marquis Priceale. Thank you for waiting. Oh, Earl Bales. Thank you for coming back. Please don't be offended, my wife simply got carried away a little. I did not get carried away. I've decided to only leave my daughter in the care of a man who she will be safe with. At the moment His Highness Leonard's faction is gaining momentum, so many aristocrats recently joined his side. I need you to present proof that you have His Highness's trust. Why, yes. It is as you say. That's why I asked this esteemed person to come with me. With that said, Earl Bales points to the door. Marquis Priceale and Lady Priceale's sight turned toward me. At that moment, they got off their chairs and kneeled. Why, Your Highness Arnold. Greetings, Your Highness. At ease. I was only asked to accompany the Earl to a matchmaking today. With that said, I sat down next to Earl Bales. The couple is still kneeling, not knowing what to do. So, I urged them to act normally again. Relax. We can't proceed like this. Very well. Excuse us. The couple sits back in their chairs. Next to me, Earl Bales is wiping his sweat with his handkerchief again. He is probably troubled by their unexpected reaction. Now then, Lady Priceale. You were worried that Earl Bales may have borrowed Leo's name to make himself look better, right? Why, yes. Then you can rest assured. Earl Bales is the first minister to express his support for Leo. He hasn't had the opportunity to meet up with us much due to his work, but if Leo is in the capital, he would have come here himself. We are already on board the same boat. As long as Earl Bales does not abandon us, we will not abandon Earl Bales either. Are you convinced now? If my words are not enough, then we can do this another time once Leo came back too, you know? No. This is plenty enough, Your Highness. We understand now. Right. You understand, right? I was underestimating Earl Bales' influence. I never thought that you would bring us His Highness himself. Please forgive my shallow thoughts. It's natural to worry about the future of your daughter. If she is raised by someone like you, then I can be confident that Earl Bales will be in good hands. A wife can sometimes bring the husband to the wrong side after all. However, with this, I think we can expect a better future for them both. I said that much and quietly stood up. There's no need for me to be here anymore since Lady Priceale already acknowledged the Earl. The rest is a story between them alone. Then I will be excusing myself. Why, Your Highness, I do not want to intervene much in someone else's matchmaking. The rest will be up to you. I said that and left. Chapter 441. Done. This is getting real annoying. I thought as I looked at the nobles who rushed into my room one after another. Your Highness, please come to my house. No, Your Highness. My house is definitely better. My house does not lose either. Perhaps some misunderstandings spread among the aristocrats. The nobles who heard that I went to Earl Bales' matchmaking all rushed over to meet me. Did they think that I went there just because I was free? If that's the case, then these guys are surprisingly shallow. All of you, just go back. Your Highness, please don't say that. Did you not attend Earl Bales' matchmaking? Please visit my house. I do not boast about her much, but my daughter is quite good-looking. Your Highness, if you are going to do that, then please visit my house as well. Your Highness, please don't be fooled. My daughter is definitely better. I wonder why. I can't communicate with them at all. Normally, someone with common sense wouldn't just barge into a prince's room and brag about their daughter, right? Is it the negative side of how I let them make light of me for so long? Somewhere in their heart, they must still think lightly of me, that's why they act like this. And everyone that came to me was those that I only knew their faces. I guess I can say that they are all middle-class nobles. Earl Bales' house is not that prestigious, but he is still a minister. Moreover, he is the first minister to show his support for Leo. There's no way I can treat these guys with the same treatment I gave the Earl. I have no intention of getting married. Just go back. That is no good, Your Highness. Something like this should be settled sooner than later. That's correct. A person who is becoming the Prime Minister of the Dominion must not remain single. Your Highness does not want to be a laughingstock of their aristocrats, correct? Since Your Highness does not want to join the high-ranking houses, I think that my daughter is just right for you. Did the rumor that I don't want to marry into a high-ranking house spread because I turned down both the Duke and the Brave? Don't treat me like a fool. I didn't refuse them because of their family. Ah, enough of this. Quit it already. My patience has its limit. What kind of benefit would I get from visiting your houses? Do you think that you can invite the dull prince to your house even if you haven't raised any achievements? Stop making a fool out of me. Earl Bales is the first person to express his support for Leo. He's different from you guys. There's no way I would visit the house of someone who hasn't even provided anything to the faction. If you want to invite me, then make yourself useful first. I managed to shut them up. Using that momentum, I tried to make them leave. However, before that, the door was knocked again. Don't tell me. Who is it this time? If this is a bad time, then I can come back later, Desua, replied the nervous-looking girl with braided flaxen hair. She also wears some unfashionable glasses. However, what stood out the most was this weird speaking habit of hers. Involuntarily, I stood up. Mia, do you have time, Desua? Yeah, I'm free right now. I will prepare a room for us to talk. Since I know that they won't leave even if I tell them to get out, I walked to the door. Then, their voices came at me from behind. Your Highness, if you are going to spend your time with that girl, then please give us some of your time too. For me, there is a difference in value between you guys and her. If you are still here when I come back, I will call the Imperial Knights to throw you out. Just get lost already. I said that and left the room. Are your wounds all healed up? I am having a chat with Mia in one of the rooms in the castle. Seba's also prepared some tea for us. This is a much more meaningful way to spend time than talking to those guys. I am already okay, Desua. I am not back to normal yet, but there's no problem with my trip here. You and your family were supposed to be taking refuge in the north though. Did something happen? There's no problem about that, Desua. It's not about our new life here but… before that, I have something to say, Desua. With that said, Mia straightened her posture and quietly lowered her head. Thank you, Your Highness. I haven't done anything though. In return for my work in the imperial capital, you have protected the people of the Dominion. You have also persuaded Marshal Liselot for us. The work I have done is incomparable to what you've done for us, Desua. Don't be so humble. Back then the Empire was in a crisis. You have worked hard for us. I simply fulfilled the promise I made to you. Rather, I should be apologizing to you instead. We made you suffer because our preparations were not thorough enough. I'm sorry. It was our side who changed the plan at the last moment, Desua. The people of the Empire have worked hard enough for us. Being told that makes me feel a little better. Mia could have died back then. If she did, then I would be left with nothing but regret. Then shall we say that we are even then? You came because you want something from me, right? Anything is fine, just say it. Anything. You might regret it later if I ask for something big, you know. It's fine. Tell me, whatever you need. Tea, then. Do you remember my younger brother Ted? He was the one who went to you as our messenger, Desua. Of course. He did well running all the way to us back then. Actually, Ted is. He wanted to study under Duke Rainfeld. That can be arranged. It's impossible after all. I knew that it is impudent to ask to study from the Duke, but… I can arrange it. Since Mia got all worked up and waved her hands all over the place, I said it again. After confirming that she didn't hear me wrong, Mia's eyes opened wide. Is that true? I already said it twice right. I will write a letter to Duke Rainfeld. That person is the best person someone could learn from. He will surely grow up to be a talented person. After that, it will be up to him, but… As I thought, the Dominion should be in the care of someone from the Dominion. If he can become someone that can be useful to my brother who is going to become the king there, then this is a good deal. I don't know what will happen in the future, Desua. But Ted also said that he wanted to do something about the Dominion. He wants to change it himself. Then there's no problem, right? Is there anything else? I need souvenirs for the children. Done. Also, the carriage I rode here was bumpy. Done. Actually, I need a new bow. Done. I'm hungry. Sebas. At once, sir. Arf. I really can ask for anything. Desua. In shock, Mia jumped away from me. Seeing her like that, I ask her with a smile. Anything else? So scary, Desua. Is this some kind of trick? Even like this I am still an imperial prince. It wouldn't do if I can't do this much. You won't accept my money after all. I have no choice but to reward you like this, right? I think that I will have better peace of mind if I take your money, Desua. So money is fine, isn't it? Saying so, I take out my coin purse. There are a lot of gold coins inside and it makes a thud sound when I placed it on the table. Even with no rainbow coin included, this should be a sizable amount of money. Seeing that, Mia retreated further away from me. That's it, Desua. I don't like how you treat that amount of money like it's nothing. A normal person's purse wouldn't make that heavy sound when you take it out. You know, it's the weight of my feeling. That's too heavy, Desua. It's okay if you don't want to accept this. But when the children grow up, they will need a lot of things, right? They have to get used to their new life too after all. If you say that. Persuaded, Mia nervously reached out for the purse and pulled it toward her chest. At that moment, a grin floated on my face. So you accepted it? I knew it. It was some kind of trick. I will have to act as the Prime Minister of the Dominion for a while. I will have you work a lot this time as well. I am short on hand at the moment, you see. I got lured in beer money again, Desua. While Mia was cursing her own carelessness, Sebas arrived with a tray of sweets. Chapter 442. Making an excuse. It's been a few days since Mia's visit. She has already returned to the north. Of course, with my letter to Duke Rainfeld. Mia's power is needed once I get to the Dominion, and it is better to send Ted to study under the Duke. At the moment, Duke Rainfeld is governing the Dominion in the form of an assistant to Lizaranu. Most of their high-ranking nobles along with the king had been apprehended and sent to a prison in the Empire. They will be executed when the time comes. That's why the Dominion currently has no ruler. There is only Lizaranu and her army there. However, there are times when military power alone is not enough. Duke Rainfeld is making up for that. Even after Traunison and I arrived, he will probably stick around to help us for a while. There is no better time to send Ted to study under the Duke than this. That's why I sent Mia back to the north early. And that's good and all, but seriously, why did this happen? I mutter while looking at the pile of portraits on my desk. All of them are portraits with a certain modification. When they saw you with Mia-sama, it seemed that they misunderstood your preference to be like a simple village girl, sir. They will probably keep sending in women with a look as your fiancé candidates now. They didn't listen to a word I said, did they? Even though I said that much to them, they still haven't given up on getting me to marry their daughters. So persistent. That can't be helped, sir. You are Leonard-sama's elder brother. If Leonard-sama gains even more credit from the war with the kingdom, he will be closer to the throne than His Highness Eric. His Highness Eric himself hasn't been to battlefields lately after all. In times of war, strong rulers are more sought after. With that being the case, you will become the elder brother of the next emperor. Furthermore, since you have proven your ability, any sensible aristocrats would want to make connections with you, sir. If they push me too much, then they might end up with a broken wrist, you know. You have been targeted for some time, sir. This problem simply emerged because they found an opportunity. An opportunity. It has to do with Finsama and Elnasama, sir. Before, they thought that it would be useless to bring up such a thing with you since you are close to the two of them. However, you refused them both. That's why they think that they've got a chance. It would be better if they give up instead, since I turned down both the ducal house and the brave house though. Well, I guess any nobles that ignored the succession war so far would act like that her. The nobles who are trying to make connections with me lately all came from a neutral position. It can be said that they are very late, since they have not decided on who to support even though the succession war has reached its final stage. If they remain neutral this far, then the correct choice should be to remain neutral until the end. The people that want to make connections with us after they see that we are gaining the advantage are nothing but those that sought to benefit themselves. They should have waited until the final moment of the succession war and joined the candidate who needed their help, and if that didn't happen, then they should have stayed neutral until the very end. It's their fault for making their move so late in the conflict. However, it seems that they do not think that way. They probably think that it is still a 50-50 chance. Now that the faction has grown, adding more middle-class nobles to our ranks does not really benefit us though. How do you wish to proceed, sir? It's easy to turn them down, but this is just right. I will have them leave me alone. Have you come up with something, sir? It will not be that effective, but I should be able to make a good enough excuse. I see. Understanding what I meant, Sebas repeatedly nodded. A few days later, without a single knock, Elna entered my room. "Oh, what did you do? At least give me a no." "Well, whatever. So, what do you want?" "Don't what do you want, me. There's a rumor that you prefer simple village girls and the nobles are sending you portraits of their daughter one after another, right?" "That's right." "Then hurry up and turn them down. Why are you leaving this alone? Even if I turn them all down, they will just keep coming, right? If you seriously refuse them, then they will stop. If I get even more serious than last time, then I will have to say that anyone who tries to send me portraits of their daughters will be punished." As expected, no one would do it after that. But, personally, I would be troubled if they don't send me more though. "What's that? Don't tell me you really like plain village girls. It doesn't matter what my preference is. All I need is quantity. You are the worst. Only the emperor is allowed polygamy, you know. What are you imagining? I am only trying to make an excuse here, all right." Elna tilts her head at my words. "Seriously, don't let this slip to anyone, okay?" "Of course. This is worrying. Well, I just need a bit more, so I guess it's fine. It's unusual to have this many marriage proposals coming to me, right? I am a prince after all. With so many middle-class nobles sending in marriage proposals one after another without consulting the emperor first, one could say that they are making light of him, no? That's true. Their position is different from that of a ducal house or the brave after all. So, what kind of excuse are you trying to make? Something like this can happen not only in the Empire but the Dominion as well. Don't you think so? Certainly, the Dominion's aristocrats should also want to make connections with the imperial family. Exactly. It would be a hassle if they interfered with my work. That's why I will revert back to my previous state." "Your previous state?" "I need Finn at my side to drive these nobles away. That's the excuse I will use to bring Finn with me to the Dominion. I can't leave Finn in the imperial capital. If the situation turns bad, Leo will have to return to the border immediately. It's possible that she will become a target." "Don't tell me you are planning to use Finn to drive away other women?" "She can also use me to ward off her suitors. It seems that there have been a lot of marriage proposals coming her way lately, you know. Recently, Finn isn't with me much. Whenever she has free time, she always goes to visit Terisanyu at the East Palace. I felt a little bad for Terisanyu, but I will have to pull her back to my side. If the relationship between me and Finn is good, the number of nobles who are trying to push their daughters on me will decrease. I will use that as an excuse and bring Finn with me. But you have already refused her once, right? Even so, just having her by my side will influence them that way. The rest would be to spread the rumors. Even the aristocrats of the Dominion wouldn't bother to bring up marriage talk with me with Finn at my side. Somehow it felt like I just lost, so I kinda hate this." Elna whispered with a dissatisfied expression. "Why does she always think things in terms of winning and losing, I wonder? Then just quit the Night Order. If you do that, then I will bring you to the Dominion with no hesitation." "There's no way I can do that, right?" We have the demons to deal with after all. So you already understand. Just like old days, if I have you by my side then I won't have to worry about marriage. But now we have our roles to fulfill. We can't be just childhood friends to each other like we are used to. So Finn will do that job instead of me? That would be the case. Then I'm convinced. With that said, Elna doesn't look dissatisfied anymore and turns back to leave. It's kinda amazing that she was convinced because of a reason like that. I wonder what kind of basis she operated on. For the time being, that's one thing taken care of. The rest would be to explain it to His Majesty, sir. He would definitely allow it if I went to him looking tired from all the marriage proposals. Father probably doesn't want Finn to remain in the imperial capital in this situation either. If there was a full-scale war with the demons, Father would have to go to battle too after all. Anti-demon covenant is it? If the demons' invasion is confirmed, each country will have to send in its strongest forces. That covenant hasn't been used for the past 500 years though. If the SS rank adventurers can take care of them then that would be for the best. It would be better if no one had to be made a sacrifice. However, this situation doesn't allow me to be optimistic. Thinking so, I quietly looked out the window. Chapter 443. Hands. Cards. A few more days later, I went to Father. I didn't expect the talk of your marriage would escalate so much. Even if I refuse them, they will just send me more, so I just gave up. I sigh and show him a blatantly tired expression. However, quit the act. I know that you were letting them do as they pleased. What do you want? It's not really an act, you know. I'm really tired right now. Mostly. Seriously. Seeing me sticking my tongue out for him a little, Father tiredly shook his head. As expected of Father. He clearly saw through what I was doing her. Well, it's fine even if he noticed though. I only wish for one thing. I'd like to bring Finn with me to the Dominion. You are using Finn to avoid dealing with other women? She can use me to avoid other men too. Even though you are my son, you sure are selfish. To think that you would put the woman you refused at your side to ward off other women. I'm Lizaranu's younger brother after all. Since Father was directing his blameful gaze at me, I shift the target to Lizaranu instead. That person has refused Duke Reinfeld's proposal countless times already. Even so, they still stay together. You want to become like those two? Maybe. How indecisive. Do you really have no intention of marrying anyone? Honestly speaking, right now you can have anyone you want, you know? Perhaps. I might regret this later, but I am not intending to marry at the moment. Why? Father's question made me turn silent for a short while. If I lie then I can make up any kind of excuse. But there is no point in lying here. After all, the only ones here are me and Father. Because I don't have the confidence that I can make anyone happy. Happiness can come later. I don't want to fail. Father may think that I am acting like a child, but I want love to be something beautiful. I don't want it to crumble away in front of my eyes. Good grief. Are you referring to me now? No, I want to be like Father and Mother when I get married. Right now I'm just not confident that I can be like that. If I have the confidence then I will think about marriage again. Confidence, huh? Putting Leonard on the throne, the demon's problem, and the conflict with other countries. Do you intend to put everything off until all of that is resolved? That would be the case. In my situation, I can lose my life at any moment. After all, once I head to the Dominion, the enemy's eyes will turn toward me. Can you marry anyone when you do not even know when you might die? Father kept silent for a while. He then changed the topic. He probably feels that it's useless to say anything more. It would probably be possible to put some restraint on the Dominion's aristocrats with Finn, but that won't work on the imperial aristocrats, you know. It is already well known that you turned down Duke Kleinet's proposal after all. Please don't worry. I will spread some rumors. What kind? That I refused because I was concerned about Leo, or that I was worried about our faction. If I mix in some of the facts then they would buy it. Also, I cannot leave Finn in the imperial capital alone. It's too dangerous after all. I don't think that it will be that much different in the Dominion, but it's still better than just Traugott alone there. I don't know when I will die myself after all. Fine. Do whatever you like. Thank you very much. I said my thanks and bowed. When I raised my head, Father was still looking at me when he usually just leaves. Is there anything else? I'm sorry. I couldn't give you a peaceful life. What's this all of a sudden? This much is normal in a succession war, right? This time it's different. After the Crown Prince's death, if I had nominated a successor, none of this would happen. Even if you do that, no one would respect that successor. Many had already gathered to support the Crown Prince. Just because he died, no one would follow a successor you named. There will be backlashes and eventually conflicts will be born in the end. A battle for the right of succession is one thing, but a battle that takes place after a candidate obtains the throne will be a civil war. Since the Crown Prince passed away, there is no other option but to have a succession war. That person was the only exception after all. That might certainly be the case. The conflicts will only smolder if we leave them alone. Still, it wouldn't burn us like it is now. If you leave the fire alone, it will only get bigger. If it is going to burn anyway, we should let it burn out right now. We should not leave our problems to the next generation. Even if it costs you your peace. If no one is going to do it, then it falls to me to do it, right? I am not going to laze around knowing that there is something that only I can do, you know. I see. Then do your best for a little bit more. If the SS rank adventurers can settle the demons problem, then we will have a war with the kingdom to worry about next. If Leonard comes out victorious, he will surpass Eric. If the demons prove to be too much for the adventurers to deal with, then it will be a war against the demons. I will have to be at the front line, but Leonard will be there as well. It's a battle for the whole continent, and participating alone would give you recognition. No one would recognize a person who was not there as their ruler. Either way, it is only a matter of time until Leonard ascends the throne. I don't think Erikaniu would give up as long as he still has a hand to play, though. There's nothing he can do. He has already done everything he could as a Minister of Foreign Affairs. That is his limit. However, Erikaniu's faction is still powerful. Most of the dukes are on his side. Above all, there is also his marriage with Lady Altenburg. The Duke of Altenburg is the house with the longest history in the empire. As long as he has their backing, I don't think that he wouldn't give us some resistance. House Altenburg has been with the empire ever since the country was founded. They boast a long history that is comparable to that of the imperial family. They are so influential that they have produced Franz's predecessor, the predecessor of that predecessor, and another predecessor before him. A family that produced prime ministers for the empire for 3 consecutive generations. Eric's wife hails from House Altenburg. With their backing, Eric has gained many aristocrats as his allies. This is the biggest reason why Eric does nothing so far. He already has the strongest faction without any need to involve himself in unnecessary conflicts. He simply needed to crush the last of his rivals and win the war. No matter what he does, as long as Leonard continues to prove his worth in battles, there will be nothing that his faction can do. That should be the worst kind of development for Eric. There are many things to be done outside the country, but none for the inside. He has been focusing too much on that after all. That might be the case, but Erikaniu was the one who stood the closest to Wilhelmaniu when he was alive. I expect him to have some kind of trump card hidden. Using your trump card at the timing when your opponent would hate it the most. That's Wilhelm's teaching, right? Wilhelmaniu always used his trump card at the moment where it could crush his opponents. It is an act to snuff out his opponent's chance of victory. I'm sure that Erikaniu will do the same. So you have some idea of what kind of trump card he is hiding? It's because I don't know what it is that I am having a hard time right now. I guess so. Then let me change the question. Since you also received that same teaching, what kind of trump cards are you hiding? Revealing your serious side after you have let everyone make light of you for so long should be one of them. The fact that you revealed that to everyone means that you still have some kind of hands left, right? You are giving me too much credit. Page. Well, I will leave it at that then. He doesn't believe that at all. Actually, since that was a lie, it can't be helped that he didn't believe it. The trump card to use when your opponent uses theirs. Something that can read your opponent of their chance at winning. When I recalled Wilhelm Anu's teaching, the door to the throne room suddenly opened. The person who entered was an out-of-breath imperial knight. There's a report, Your Majesty. Say it. Yes, sir. The investigation team the guild sent to the kingdom has started their investigation on Grimoire's bases and encountered multiple demons, sir. Chapter 444. The 3 SS rank adventurers. The investigation team from the Adventurer Guild split into 3 groups after they entered the kingdom. Among the 3 groups, Jack's group was moving with the smallest number of personnel. Normally, you would need many people to safeguard the front line for an archer, but Jack has no need for that. That's why Jack assigned 4 of the 5 S-rank adventurers to the other 2 groups. The remaining one was assigned as his assistant. And just an assistant. Jack doesn't intend to count on their combat ability. However, Jack-san, if a demon appears, then you can leave it to me. That is still 100 years too early for you. They are currently at an underground facility that is likely to be one of Grimoire's bases. Jack infiltrated the facility with only one person by his side. An S-rank adventurer based in the United Kingdom of Eaglet. His name is Bruce Tarrant. The young ice mage with the nickname of the Freezing Noble due to his gentlemanly behavior and appearance. Go back above ground and wait for me there. I will handle the demon. That wouldn't do, right? It would be meaningless for me to tag along with you in the first place. Your reason for being here is to guard our investigators. We already have the AAA rank guys for that, you know. I'm telling you to go join them. So strict. Even like this, I am still an S rank, you know. Bruce waved his right hand as he said that. With that alone, several enemies that were hiding in the shadows were frozen. For a while now, Bruce had been dealing with the small fries in this underground facility. I think that I can at least help here though. I didn't bring you here because I expected a battle. Please don't say that. Our opponents are demons, you know. I think that it would be better if we cooperate with each other. Is that so? The moment he said that, Jack stopped his feet. There was a petite girl in front of him. Why is there such a small girl here? Bruce is wondering and tries to step up and protect the girl. However, the moment he took a step past Jack, he was hit by a strong chill. He immediately took his distance and got ready for battle. I came out to see for myself since I heard the SS rank adventurers are coming. So, who's going to be my opponent? That would be me. Saying so, Jack readied the bow he hung on his shoulder and slightly cracked his neck. Seeing Jack's calmness, Bruce felt the difference between them. There's no doubt that the girl in front of them is a demon. Recalling the chill he felt, Bruce's legs are shaking a little. However, Jack-san, let me fight her. Ara, 2 came to my place. I'm Bruce Tarrant, an S-rank adventurer. The moment she heard that he was an S-rank, the girl's expression immediately looked as if she lost interest in him. Then, it would be one thing if my opponent is the strongest the Adventurer Guild has to offer, but you have no right to face me since you are still a level below that. Just go home. Don't underestimate me. Bruce instantly created countless icicles around him and prepared to shoot them all at the girl. In response, seeing so many icicles he created, the girl happily applauded. That's amazing. You do party. Damn you. He shot the icicles at the girl, but the girl casually walked slowly forward. She didn't walk at the speed that makes her invisible to the eyes. Still, none of the icicles hit the girl. They all passed through gaps between the girl's limbs and landed behind her. Just like that, all of Bruce's icicles were exhausted. Good work. Suddenly, the girl was next to Bruce. When did she get so close? Bruce couldn't tell at all. The thought of defending himself floated in his mind, but before he could do anything, the girl raises her right hand. Well then, goodbye. Bruce was hit with the dread of death. He prepares to at least get one counterattack in, but even that is meaningless. After all, the girl was blown away the next moment. Goodbye to you too. Jack was following the movement of the girl that Bruce failed to follow. He kicked the girl away. Jack-san, hurry up and return above ground. Evacuate all of our investigators and report to the other groups. Tell them that a demon appeared. Understood. Understanding his helplessness in the face of a demon and insurmountable wall he can't overcome, Bruce turns his back and starts running. The girl did not give chase. Even though she was kicked away by Jack, she did not take any damage at all. You've got an amazing speed. It's been a while since I had to defend. Is that right? Then defend this too. With no intention to chit-chat, Jack readies his bow and immediately shoots magic arrows at her. With a bow in his hand, the barrage of magic arrows does not stop. Still, the girl lazily avoided every single one like she did earlier. Arrah, so scary. There is a big hole in the wall behind the girl. And the girl was looking happily at it. A playful brat, hey? That's rude. My name is IPO's. Even if I look like this, I am still one of Grimoire's executives, you know? Yeah. Then let me introduce myself too. I'm Jack, an SS rank adventurer from the Adventurer Guild. I'm here to subjugate you, Jack said as he rapidly fired his arrows at the girl again. But in response, I hate this. At least I wanted my opponent to be a handsome guy, you know. My bad then. Linares, who was also investigating one of their bases, encountered a demon as well. The demon he is facing is a middle-aged man with a muscular body. The demon named himself as he flexed his muscles. The name is Marbas. I have been looking forward to fighting you. Unfortunately, I'm not looking forward to this at all. Seriously. It's about time that I have to take care of my skin. It seems I am being looked down on quite a bit here. In response to Linares's couldn't-he-care-less attitude, Marbas immediately closed in on Linares. He then shot a straight punch at him. And in the next moment, Marbas was in the air. He didn't jump there himself. He was thrown. Impatient men are unpopular, you know? I see. Understanding that he was sent flying, Marbas made a mid-air recovery and landed. He then readied up again. Let me test my ability then. Bipolar Divine Fist. Couldn't be helped then. SS rank adventurer of the Adventurer Guild, Linares. I'm subjugating you, said Linares with a daring smile. In a town within the kingdom's territory, there, Igor was confronting a small boy. Igor had attacked the base he was assigned to, but he came to this town using his own intuition. He felt that someone was calling for him here. And that was correct. The town was on fire. The citizens are fleeing from it, leaving a scene of tragedy. There, a young confused girl asked Igor, "Who are you?" While stroking the girl's head, Igor answered, "I'm Igor, an SS rank adventurer from the Adventurer Guild. You did good holding out so far. Oi, old man. Can you not interrupt my game? I was enjoying shooting down humans, you know?" The boy yawns as he floats sideways lazily in the air. After glancing at the boy, Igor hits the ground with his cane. That alone caused a big gust and the flames raging over the town were blown away. If you enjoy playing games so much, then I will accompany you. We are playing tag. I am it. You can start running for your life now, Igor muttered as he unsheathed the sword from his cane. Chapter 445. Power is power. The base Linares was at was a noble villa. A villa that was supposed to be deserted. There he encountered Marbas, a big muscled man. A demon that is inhibiting a human body. Linares immediately noticed that, but he didn't put Marbas down immediately. I'm troubled, Linares muttered as he parries Marbas's fists. They have been exchanging their fists for a while now. He has been casually parrying Marbas's attack. Forceful and soft. The way the two fight was the exact opposite. To think that there would be a technique that can parry my attack so easily. As expected of the Divine Fist. We were told to investigate, so I don't want to destroy the villa. Can we do this outside? That is an impossible request. I am here to protect this place after all. Seriously. Inflexible middle-aged men are the worst. Since we are both martial artists, why don't we talk it out with our fists? I hate being touched myself, so I very much hate that idea. This is why I hate dealing with other martial artists. Besides, I'm already getting nauseous from dealing with a middle-aged man, you know. As if Marbas's fists are some kind of filthy object, Linares kept parrying off his attacks. The aftermath of Marbas's blows leaves the villa's walls tattered. Linares can easily parry his attack, but each of his blows was packed with tremendous power. Mate, at this rate I would be the one who wrecks this place myself. There are also muscle brain demons. So, what is your authority? If you want to know that, then try making me use it. Now you are playing hard to get. I hate this. Really. The moment he said that, Linares instantly moved behind Marbas and opened a hole in Marbas's chest from behind. It was a quick jab that can be called divine, since not even a drop of blood stained his arm. Marbas himself was stunned by the sudden development. Normally, that should be a fatal injury. No matter how strong a demon Marbas is, that wound should at least hinder his movement. However, that hole immediately closed. I see. So your authority favors close-quarter combat, You saw through it, My authority is regeneration. No one can defeat me. That really is nasty. Right. While saying so, Marbas turns back. There was a big smile on his face. My regeneration is invincible. No martial artist can defeat me. Your technique is certainly great, but it was still designed to be used against humans. Such techniques cannot defeat a demon. I guess so. But my fist is specialized in dealing with monsters, you know? It's all the same. A technique that can kill a dragon cannot defeat a regenerating demon. You lack power. This really is getting irritating. This might be the first time since I became an SS rank adventurer that someone irritated me this much. My apology then. But I was simply stating the facts. What you said was not a fact. It's just speculation. Saying so, Linares starts attacking. Marbas parries his attacks. Linares's fists skillfully sneaked past his defense many times, and blow after blow pierced Marbas's body. However, Marbas kept regenerating. Linares wanted to keep striking him down until he can no longer regenerate, but it is impossible to sneak all attack past Marbas's defense even for Linares. In the end, Marbas's regeneration triumphs. You may go on an offensive, but you can't defeat me. Seriously. This is just unbelievable. Right. You and I are fatally incompatible. Seems so. I really can't handle that personality of yours. Our abilities are also incompatible. Your defense is strong, but my fist will eventually break through. You can hit me all you want and I won't be defeated. On the other hand, one strike is all I need. Running your mouth even though you still haven't won yet. Linares tiredly sighed. In response, Marbas took a stance again. I don't want to end this because I am having a good time, but this is a battle between martial artists. There needs to be a winner. Saying so, Marbas took his breath and ran up to Linares to unleash a thrust. A thrust that leaves even the sound behind. If a normal human took that, there would be nothing remaining. However, there is a miscalculation on Marbas's part. After all, Linares doesn't exactly fit into the human category. This man is an SS rank adventurer. Very well, I will end this too. After Marbas unleashed his thrust. Linares calmly said that. Then Marbas realized his entire arm was gone. What? To think that you would lose an arm just because I put a little power into my parry. How fragile. Linares mutters while calmly standing in his place. It didn't look like he moved at all. However, something is obviously different. Sensing that, Marbas immediately took a distance away. As expected of the divine fist. So you have been hiding a secret move, A secret move? Well, I guess you could call it that. I don't want to use it much after all, said Linares as he slowly walks toward Marbas. It was like he was showing off his superiority. Unable to withstand the pressure, Marbas fired his thrusts at Linares from a distance. Multiple shock waves hit Linares. However, if you blow up so much dust, my clothes will get dirty, you know. Simply with a swipe of his right hand, Linares cancelled out all the shockwaves. The noble villa was half destroyed just because of that. This is why I didn't want to do this. Everything will be blown away after all. Well, since they are already broken, there's nothing I can do. The children in my team will take care of the post-processing later. Are you really the same human I faced earlier? Excuse me, I am a genuine authentic human being, all right. The only difference is my strength. That's it. I can't control my body well if I put some power into it, and doing things like this also puts a strain on my skin too. Most importantly, it makes me look like an ugly muscle brain, not beautiful at all. As I thought, the most beautiful martial art is one that can overcome anything gracefully. Simply put some power into it. Marbas was terrified at Linares' description. This means that even now, Linares wasn't even using his combat mode. Despite that, he still showed Marbas that level of skill. Just what kind of technique will come at him now? Marbas felt the danger as he speculated. If Linares had put her power into his earlier technique, what would happen? However, it's your fault, you know. It's because you won't just die. Now I have to resort to such an ugly way. I think that your techniques are plenty beautiful though. I'm already tired of hearing that compliment. Also, it seems you still misunderstand one thing. Techniques are there for us to use the most of our power. I heard a lot of people say that. But I have a different theory myself. Now I'm curious. This wisdom of the strongest martial artist on the continent. Then I will tell you. My theory is, power is everything. Techniques are just there to utilize it. We live because we have power. It's impossible to control power with techniques. That's why even your authority is nothing before my power. Marbas was ready to take Linares' attack with his regeneration. However, he noticed that the degree of danger now is completely different than before. That sense of danger has turned into a premonition of death. It was too late when he realized that it would be bad to take Linares' blow. Take this as a souvenir to the underworld. Power is power. In front of Marbas, Linares thrust his fist forward using no skills or techniques whatsoever. In an instant, Marbas's body shattered and disappeared as if an ancient magic spell had just been unleashed on him. The aftermath of that thrust was overwhelming. The terrain around the villa was immediately reshaped. Meanwhile, Linares was closely inspecting the right hand he used for the thrust. I have to take good care of my skin today. It's all rough now, not beautiful. I really hate this. The villa was completely destroyed and the terrain was reshaped. This should be a natural result of a clash between an SS rank adventurer and a demon, but this result still dissatisfied Linares. It is normal for such a disaster to occur when an SS rank adventurer was dispatched. But among the SS rank adventurers, he prided himself in taking care of business smartly and beautifully. That was his intention, but the result ended up the exact opposite. Should I clear out these rubbles for the children in the investigation team? No, if I clear this up then the dust will be flying everywhere. While saying such carefree remarks, Linares headed toward the investigation team that was waiting for him. Chapter 446. The archery he admired. It's useless. Don't you realize that it will always be the same no matter how many times you try? IPOs, an executive of Grimoire, kept eluding Jack's arrows while giggling to herself. Nothing has changed ever since the battle started. Jack shoots his arrows and IPOs avoids them. Even with Jack's skillful archery, IPOs can lazily avoid all of the arrows he shot at her for some reason. Still, Jack is also a man who climbed up to the SS rank by his own power. If he is shown the same thing over and over again, it's natural that he would notice the trick behind it. I see. So your authority is a short-term future prediction, huh? Error. As expected from an SS rank adventurer, I guess. So you noticed. If you moved that much even before I even fired my arrows, then it's pretty obvious. Quite observant, aren't you? IPOs said with a smile. Even though the trick has been seen through, IPOs did not let up the attitude of a superior. Due to how archery works, the compatibility between Jack and IPOs couldn't be any worse. Although arcane archery can change the direction of the magic arrows mid-flight, it holds no meaning before IPOs who can see the future. However, that sounds like an invincible ability, but you did take my first kick, right? I guess there's a difference between being able to see the future and the ability to react, right? Correct again. Still, your attacks are mainly medium to long range. Do you think that you can beat me in close quarter? Who knows? It seems you can still afford to not take this seriously. That being said, my advantages don't really come from my authority alone, you know. Saying so, IPOs generated a ball of magic power and fired it at Jack. Its speed is nothing. Jack was able to intercept it instantly. However, TSK, the ball of magic power absorbed Jack's arrow. It's the type of attack that can absorb magic power. Clicking his tongue at the attack that is incompatible with his own, Jack waits for the ball to approach him. The moment it reached Jack, the ball of magic burst. However, Jack was unharmed. Amazing. I never thought that anyone would be able to shoot an arrow to offset it like that. Underestimating me, eh? I am complimenting you though. I hate that superior attitude of yours. I am a demon after all. Naturally, I think that all humans are inferior to me. Since I am speaking to you from an equal standpoint, don't you think that I am already quite reasonable? That's exactly what I hate about you. While saying so, Jack barraged IPOs with magic arrows. The rate of fire could not be compared to what he showed her before. However, IPOs could avoid them all the same. Reasonable compromise should be enough for you, right? I don't know about other SS rank adventurers, but the only thing you are good at is your archery. You can't use as many spells as Silver, and you are not as powerful as the other three in close combat. You have the weakest defense among the SS rank. You may be able to suppress weaker opponents with your attack alone, but you cannot do the same if your opponent is stronger than you. Good grief. Not just the appearance, your personality is that of a shitty brat to her. IPO's analysis of Jack was mostly correct. That's why Jack doesn't deny it. Jack's weapon is his bow. His skill with it is his strength, his everything. Silver has his magic, Linares has his fists, magic sword for No Name, and blade for Igor. They honed themselves to the extremity and arrived at the zenith. If you were a swordsman, then you might be able to win against me, but against an archer, I am invincible. Do you regret it now? Regret what exactly? The choice you made to become an archer. With that much power in you, I think you could have been successful no matter what weapon you choose, you know. I don't have that confidence myself, but I have no regrets. Before his pursuit of the arcane archery, Jack was just an ordinary village boy. There, he met Mia's grandfather and forcefully made him take himself in as an apprentice. He admired Mia's grandfather, who was honing his arcane archery in his travels. He eventually absorbed his skills and surpassed his master, becoming the strongest magic archer on the continent. No matter how many times that choice put him in desperate situations, he never chooses to give up his bow. The bow was his dream, his object of admiration, and himself. However, there is now an addition to the things that he cares about. Certainly, I might not be as strong as the other SS rank adventurers. But you see, this magic bow is still my everything, and I will continue to be at the peak with it. Some will say that archers are weak, and some will probably say that bows are lame. I am the one who shut them all up. The boy who once admired is now someone that is being admired. On his back are the expectations of every archer on the continent. And among those archers, there is his daughter. His arcane archery is the only connection he has with her. Even if he appears in front of her, he has no intention of calling himself her father. He has no qualification for that. Still, he wants to present himself to her as the strongest archer in the world. Don't look down on me too much, brat. People don't call me the bow god just for fun. Jack pulled the string on his bow with all his might and fired an arrow. It split into innumerable arrows traveling toward IPOs, blocking all her escape routes. Naturally, splitting up the arrow means lessening their power. However, they all have enough power to cause damage to IPOs. Taking them head-on is not a good idea. IPOs judged so and slipped into the gap between the innumerable split arrows by predicting the future. Then, welcome. Jack, who was waiting for her at the gap, took her by surprise. You and I may have the worst compatibility, but I am quite good at dealing with someone who loves exploiting that incompatibility, you see. When people like you pride themselves in their superiority and forcefully push forward, they always find themselves unable to do anything in a situation like this, right? Coup. IPOs produces a ball of magic power which was immediately sucked into Jack's bow. You thought you were the only one who can absorb others' magic power? Damn you. If I had other authority, it wouldn't turn out like this. So, are you starting to regret it now? The fact that you were born with the authority to predict the future. Then, Jack knocks his bow one final time. IPOs managed to escape the restraint of the split arrows, but before she knew it, both her hands and feet were already restrained by small arrows. They are the arrows that Jack prepared in advance. The match was already decided when IPOs decided to slip into the gap. If his opponent can see the future, then all he has to do is make his opponent walk into a checkmate. All or nothing. Fuse and gather here. Magic bow secret move. Focused destroying light arrow. A single arrow of light swallows IPOs. Just like that, a huge hole was made deep into the underground where IPOs used to be. The impact caused the facility to collapse. Bruce, who was watching the situation above ground, couldn't help but shout out for Jack at the sudden collapse. Jack-san. Grimoire's underground base was sunk into the abyss. Loud sounds of collapse echoes and the earth shake. There, a man walked into Bruce's field of vision. "Don't be so loud." "That was me," Jack said as he stared at the huge hole in the ground. He then let out a long sigh. "Silver is going to give me an earful again. After all, there is nothing left to investigate now." Chapter 447. The Sword Saint's Move. An old man was chasing a boy. A situation that looked peaceful was unfolding within the kingdom. That being said, the scale and degree of seriousness here are clearly too different from your average game of tag. "Damn you." The boy sent green smoke toward the old man. It was a cloud of deadly poison. However, the old man easily cut them apart. "No way. You are cutting even my authority. What's wrong, little boy? Are you done running away?" said Igor to the shaking boy as he approached him. Since their first encounter, Igor had cut down the poison released by Casimola many times already. He had been pursuing Casimola, who fled to the sky, with his overwhelming speed. A normal child would have given up before this old man's stubbornness already, but in this game of tag, giving up means death. The oldest SS rank adventurer. Sword Saint Igor. It seems the rumor is true. There really is nothing you cannot cut. That's an exaggeration. There are some things that I cannot cut. Well, it's true that most things are very cuttable to me though. Saying so, Igor slowly approached Casimola. Until now, Casimola had been flying to escape while Igor runs after him on the ground. However, deciding that it is impossible to shake Igor off, Casimola landed on the ground. If he can't escape, then there's no other choice but to fight. "I never thought that there is a monster like you among the humans, you know." "A monster, eh? Well, I guess that is true. You have that kind of power but continued to be only an adventurer for hundreds of years, right? From the perspective of the humans on this continent, I think that they are even more afraid of you than the monsters you know." "A demon said that to me, her. On that point alone, I am quite grateful to you demons. The reason people with abnormal power like us can move around freely to some extent as we have been was because of the existence of your kinds. Mankind has always prepared abnormal people like me to face the threat of the demons you see. That's us, the SS rank adventurers. People with abnormal power like them could be persecuted and hunted down by other human beings who are afraid that they might use their power against them. However, they are allowed to exist as a fighting force because of the clear threat called the demons. The outlaws that possess extraordinary power. The system that recruited them into a fighting force for humanity is the SS rank adventurer. Then it would be bad to subjugate us, right? They will turn their fangs toward Jisan and your friends next, you know? It's not good to look down on SS rank adventurers too much, you know? I have been an SS rank of adventurers for hundreds of years to make sure that doesn't happen. I've saved many lives and stand as the guardian of mankind all my life. I've never interfered with human conflict even when it cost me my own country. SS rank adventurers are now the symbol of hope. Even if the demons are no longer around, our position will not change. Over time, the people's views on the SS rank adventurers have significantly changed. Even so, Igor still remains as one. As someone who will act as an insurance when other rank adventurers decide to use their power against humanity. He has always been watching. It could be said that it was Igor himself who helped form this system. That must have been a lot of work. I would decide to live however I want though. You demons won't understand. With power comes responsibility. We simply decided to take ours. It would be easy to throw such responsibilities away, but those responsibilities are exactly what creates the bond between us and the people. If we live like the demons, then we are no different than a beast. It seems I will never understand. Going so far for something invisible and formless like that, I wonder why anyone would choose to do that to themselves. It is exactly because you can't understand that you are being cornered right now. Well, I guess I will tell you about it as a souvenir to hell. It sounds cooler that way, right? Putting it like that. In this world, the cool ones are the strong. Stop messing with me. Having enough, Casamola directed the poison cloud that he had been gradually releasing to the surrounding at Igor. The area around Igor was completely encased in poison clouds. There is no escape. You idiot. Breath those poisons in and say goodbye to your life. Fool, all I have to do is not breath. Igor is still calm even while being covered with clouds of poison. His arm is moving at high speed, of course, with his sword in hand. He cuts all the poison that gets close to him, creating a kind of barrier. In response, Casamola can only look at what is unfolding before his eyes. The abnormal of mankind. Casamola knows of their existence. He has even seen several SS rank adventurers' battles before. However, the current Igor couldn't be compared to any of those. You? What are you? SS rank adventurer Igor. I'm the one who is going to subjugate you. Completely unharmed by the poison, Igor charged at Casamola. This might be the chance to use his poison. However, if he shows any sign of that, he will immediately be cut. He had that kind of feeling. But if he doesn't do that, he will surely die. After he received a human vessel, Casamola had been doing whatever he wanted. That desire for freedom of his enabled him to overcome that premonition of death. Uoa. Casamola accumulates the poison into his body. If Igor cuts him down, he will be poisoned. Demon's regeneration ability is incomparable to that of humans. He has a chance of surviving Igor's blow. His plan was based on that judgment. However, that is still not enough. School of the Sword Saint, Northern Style. World Cutting. Igor rarely names his technique. After all, every swing of his sword is already deadly. One of the few techniques he named was World Cutting, an attack using slashes from all directions. It may not sound impressive with that description, but Casamola was turned to dust by the innumerable slashes that came at him from all directions at the same time. The poison he accumulated inside his body was completely cut. How fragile. 500 years ago, the demons drove humanity to the brink of annihilation. Their victory was a miracle, and the story was handed down as a legend. Compared to the demons from those stories, Casamola was fragile. Igor ponders on that for a moment before returning his sword to his cane. Even so, he arrives at no answer. Thinking that there is nothing left for him to do here, Igor decided to go back. Then he noticed. Wait. Where is this? While chasing Casamola, it seems that he arrived somewhere he doesn't know. Well, if he keeps walking, then he will probably meet someone along the way. Thinking so, Igor started walking toward the big landmark that still exists. Chapter 448. Follow-up Incident. Adventurer Guild, Imperial Capital Branch. As Silver, I have been standing by at the Imperial Capital Branch waiting for the report from the investigation team. However, still nothing yet. Unfortunately, we lost contact with them. There is also an Adventurer Guild branch in the kingdom's capital. We should be able to receive the report of the situation through that channel. However, there is no subsequent report after we were notified that the team encountered multiple demons. A considerable amount of time has already passed since the initial report. That should be more than enough time for the SS rank adventurers on site to take care of things. It's very unlikely that they have not settled it yet. If we cannot confirm the situation there, I will go to the kingdom myself. That's... The guild staff responded with a troubled expression. They don't know what to do even if I said that her. That being said, the role assigned to me was to stand by here in case of an emergency. The lack of contact from the investigation team should also count as one. When I was thinking that far, A report came through. There's a report, sir. Hurry up and say it. Yes. The investigation team encountered demons in multiple locations and the SS rank adventurers moved in to engage them. All 3 demons have been subjugated, sir. Sigh of relief spread inside the branch. The plan was to send 3 SS rank adventurers in. It indicated that failure is not an option. However, a follow-up report just came through, sir. Another staff member hurriedly entered the room behind the first one. His face bears a grave expression. There is more. Yes. A 4th demon has appeared in the kingdom. It was trying to escape and the SS rank adventurer was in pursuit. The initial report said that 3 cities have been destroyed in the process, sir. What? Did they manage to subjugate it? That is yet to be confirmed, sir. The atmosphere immediately turned heavy. They were celebrating the SS rank adventurers until earlier, but they immediately got pulled back to reality with the second report. The other party is a group of demons. Obviously, defeating them is no easy task. Did they request my help? Why, yes. SS rank adventurer Jack has issued an official request for your dispatch, Silversan. Good. Then I'm going. I will ask Jack for the details. Saying so, I immediately transferred to the kingdom. Using 2 consecutive transfers, I arrive at a guild branch in the kingdom. There were some commotions due to my sudden appearance in the guild, but Jack immediately called out to me. Thanks for coming, Silver. Let's hear the details. Before that, follow me. Jack leads me out of the branch office. The scene outside of the office could be described as hell. A large number of injured people were laid down there and people were working tirelessly to treat them. I want you to heal these people first. I see. Of course. With that said, I cover the city with a healing barrier. Albeit slowly, their wounds start to heal. With this, we should be able to avoid casualty. Let's talk. How did this happen with the 3 of you on the scene? When we investigated their bases, we each encountered a demon. But those guys were just decoys. The demon that appears to be their leader used the time they bought to escape. Elder Igor was the only one who immediately noticed it. During the chase, that demon destroyed the nearby cities to stall us. We lost 3 cities and as you see many citizens were injured. The fact that you are here means you've already subjugated it, right? Yeah, somehow. We were having a hard time because it was focusing on escaping. We managed to subjugate it in the end while the 3 of us cooperate to restrain its movement. That guy was clearly stronger than the executives we encountered. Did you catch its name? It called itself Botis. I see. The name of the demon that Jisan mentioned was Dantalian, the former executive in the Demon King army. Since Grimoire's leader was called the Grand Duke, I assumed that such a position belonged to Dantalian. It wouldn't be strange if my assumption is wrong. Still, this might be the most catastrophic incident in recent times. I don't even want to imagine the number of casualties. They caused this much damage even though the guild dispatched 3 SS rank adventurers after all. Still, there are some suspicious points. Why did the Grand Duke attack these cities to escape? There's no way that such a thing can stop the pursuit of SS rank adventurers. That is a mystery to me too. If you want something useful, then try talking to Elder Igor. In a situation where we need to rely on intuition like this, no one is more reliable than him. Where is he? Don't be surprised, all right? He's meditating just outside the city. He didn't get lost and managed to reach this place. You know, it wouldn't be strange if it starts raining spears now, huh? Pretty much. Also, one more thing, Silver. Jack looks like he is having a hard time trying to say something. Obviously, there is only one topic he would act like this for. Mia awoke safe and sound. She will be helping me out at the Dominion in the near future. She needed a place of employment after all. I see. Thank you for everything. Don't mind it. She is just that capable. I stopped talking there. Jack probably wanted to hear more about Mia, but this conversation is nothing but a risk for me. I flew to the sky above the city and searched for Elder Igor. Soon, I found him just outside the city, so I descended toward him. You came. You didn't get lost, huh? I guess you don't need someone else to guide you anymore. You are not here just to tease me, right? Igor is meditating with his eyes closed. It seems that he plans to stay like that while we have this conversation. How do you see this incident? One of the worst I have seen recently. This much is a given if we are fighting demons. That is what everyone is probably thinking. I agree. There were 5 demons in total that we encountered and subjugated. There would be a full-scale panic if more of them show up. Still, was Grimoire truly destroyed? It appears to be the case from the initial investigation. The demon the 3 of us cornered was the Grand Duke, their leader. We should be able to dig deeper once we continue the investigation. And what does your intuition tell you? Until now, he only spoke about the objective assessment of the situation. That is not Elder Igor's intuition. And his intuition is exactly what I want to hear from. After all, this person has relied on his intuition to solve many conflicts for hundreds of years. My intuition, her. Then it's a different story. My intuition is telling me one thing. It is not over yet. Agreed. Mine didn't come from an intuition though, just speculation. Speculation? The incident is too flashy. The damage is great. Enough to camouflage the things that didn't add up. 3 SS rank adventurers were sent in to destroy Grimoire, and albeit suffering a certain amount of damage, they came out victorious. That should be the narrative that everyone is seeing. But I don't think that an organization that has been lurking in the dark for so long would be destroyed this easily. Rather, it would make more sense to think that the demons that showed up so far were all decoys. Do you have any proof of that? None. But we can expect one thing. At the base I subjugated the first demon. I found something that connected the Grand Duke to a certain person called Highness. If they were truly destroyed, information about this Highness should also surface. If the Grand Duke was truly destroyed, then there should at least be some information about Highness from the investigation. That's true. But there probably won't be any. After all, they are trying to hide themselves using 4 demons as decoys. The real Grand Duke should be hiding somewhere else and already disappeared back to the shadows. The reason behind such an action is simple. He simply doesn't want to interact with the SS rank adventurers yet. Still, he knew that he couldn't get away so easily. That's why he laid out the baits for us. Some ridiculously good baits at that. It would be nice if you are wrong. I think so too. This incident will conclude the cooperative relationship of the rulers of this continent. That will make it easier for Grimoire to move behind the scenes. It would be great if I'm wrong, but it is best that we prepare ourselves. That's right. We are humanity's shield as well as their weapon. It would be best if we sharpen ourselves. With that said, Elder Igor delved deeper into his meditation. The anxiety in my mind still doesn't disappear. This is not over yet. Still, we have no evidence to back that claim. Without proof, the emperors and kings of this continent would not cooperate. They outplayed us, her. If my guess is correct, then this Grand Duke is surprisingly bold. Using plenty of valuable pieces, he managed to avoid direct confrontation with the SS rank adventurers. The problem here is that to use such a daring move, the Grand Duke must have some kind of way to replenish his lost pieces. Otherwise, he wouldn't have used them so daringly. After a long, long sigh, I left the place. Chapter 449. A break after a long time. The imperial capital was wrapped in cheers. And at the center of that is Leo. Leo, who made a triumphant return, was enthusiastically welcomed by the citizens ever since he entered the capital. While looking down on the situation from the castle, I muttered to myself. Quite popular, isn't he? He's the hero prince who returned with great war results after all, sir. Besides, the war results may have played a part in this, but with the incident in the east, the sea dragon incident in the principality, the demons he defeated in the south, Duke Kruger's rebellion, the rebellion in the capital, defeating Prince Gordon in the north, and his success in the western warfront, Leonard Sama is truly a hero to the citizens, sir. A competition between Eric, who produced results in politics, and Leo, who achieved many victories on the battlefield, her. It seems Leo has succeeded in what Gordon Aniu tried to achieve. That is the only way to fight against His Highness Eric after all, sir. Having achievements under your belt is a good thing. Since Leo participated in the succession war, the four-way battle is now a one-on-one fight. Right now it is a battle to see who raised more achievements. Leo has strong support from the military and Eric has the support of the civil servants. Both of them will have to try to make as many achievements as they can in this last spurt. Well, the two of them still lack the decisive blow though. With the only two candidates left being from two different types, it is difficult to directly compare them. Whether it be successful diplomacy or military feats, both contribute to the empire. However, the three great powers of the continent, Palan Kingdom, Adrasia Empire, and Sokol Empire. The status quo has been maintained like that for many years. If they manage to break one of those powers, then it would give them an overwhelming lead. Whether Linares can defeat the kingdom. That is the current challenge, sir. He will win. If there really is going to be a war with the kingdom, that is. Isn't the ceasefire only temporary, sir? The damage they suffered from the demons is great. The kingdom will choose to maintain the ceasefire for now. Right now, they have nothing to gain in fighting us again. If they start sending their troops in again, Leo, who had been cornering them, will immediately return to the front line. The kingdom surely wouldn't want that. With the succession war going on, Eric will do everything to stop Leo from taking more credit. The kingdom knows that, so they will strike some kind of deal with him. That's why this war will be on hold for a while. In the meantime, they will surely try to sabotage us. That would be troubling, sir. If the ceasefire continues, Linares will be at a disadvantage. Moreover, there is a possibility that this war against the kingdom will discontinue indefinitely. Even so, we have no choice but to overcome this. Leo probably doesn't think that he can ascend the throne that easily too. Saying so, I stood up. After all, it's about time that Leo will enter the castle. Leo-sama. Krista ran up and hugged Leo immediately after he entered the castle. Receiving her, Leo smiles back at Krista. I'm back, Krista. I missed you. I missed you too. Perhaps due to the long separation, Krista does not leave Leo's side. While making a bitter smile at her, Leo spotted me, who just came out to welcome him back. I'm back, Ni-san. Yeah, so you managed to come back. What do you mean? Literally. So, you managed to leave Letitia behind and come back. I can't refuse His Majesty's summon after all. That being said, she is under the protection of the Second Corps now. The kingdom doesn't like the fact that their saintess is in the empire after all. It's also possible that she might feel estranged when you are away. Leaving her with them is a good plan. The Second Imperial Knight Corps specialized in escorting VIPs. They are excellent in protection and are quite persevering. One could say that a unit is the reflection of its captain. That's why he should feel safe leaving her with them. I actually wanted to bring Letitia back with me, but she insisted on staying near the border. The people that are migrating from the kingdom are admirers of Letitia after all. They have no loyalty toward the empire. If Letitia leaves, it's possible that they might go back. Otherwise, only the wise ones would choose to stay after all. I thought that leaving her with them for a little while should be fine. It would be better if she has 3 corps protecting her though. You think 3 Imperial Knight Corps are willing to go along with your selfish request? It's fine, isn't it? What meaning would my power hold if it can't grant me a small selfish wish like this? Is that right? But leave that after you ascend the throne, would you? While tiredly responding to my brother's ridiculous wish, I urge Leo to move. After all, we have a place to be. Especially Leo. Come on, let's go greet father. Do you think he will allow my marriage now? Impossible. At least with Traunison's marriage, you will have to wait for a while. Anen, what a shame. Muttering so, Leo started walking. Night. Leo, who finished giving his greeting, returned to his room. Ah, I'm tired. You only had a short break before and had to go to the west immediately after all. This time you should be able to relax for a while. It seems you have a lot to do though, Ni-san. Traunison will hold his wedding ceremony soon. After that, I will have to head to the Dominion with him. I guess I will be put to work for a while. If you don't want to go, then you should just choose to settle down with someone. I heard the rumors that you don't want to marry now because you are worried about the power relationship in the faction, but you don't really care about that, right? I was too popular that I couldn't choose. Aren't you just being indecisive then? I shrug at my brother's harsh comment. I guess there's no point talking more about this with him/her. A person who already settled on his partner would not understand someone who couldn't do the same after all. By the way, did you hear about the demon's subjugation? Changing the topic just like that/her. Well, I don't mind. I heard about it, but is there a problem? From the result of the investigation, it seems that Grimoire was involved in most of the recent incidents that happened to the Empire. So, do you think that an organization like that would be destroyed so easily? I want to say that they stood no chance against 3 SS rank adventurers, but the opponent is the demons. I think that was too easy. I agree. There are also a lot of things that still remain unclear. It's possible that they just left us some convenient information and hid in the dark again. If that's the case, then there will be a storm coming. In other words, you're telling me to not let my guard down, right? That's right. I will be in the Dominion, you will stay in the Empire alone. Do not let down your guard. From the beginning, Grimoire's aim was always the Empire. If they are still out there, they will surely target the Empire again. I won't let my guard down. They did target Letitia once after all. There won't be a second time, until I can make sure that they are thoroughly destroyed. I will never have peace of mind. Then I guess there won't be a problem. Once I become a prime minister, I won't be able to come back for at least a year. At the very least, I want to concentrate all authority on Trauneeson first. This will be the first time that we are going to be separated for such a long time, but the things we have to do still don't change. My opponent is Erikaniu, and I have to defeat the kingdom in order to win. I personally want to solve the problems with the kingdom for Letitia, but my purpose is clear. As always, we can only do our best. Still, I'm getting a little anxious. I'm the same. We have always been together after all. Still, this should serve as a good experience. There are things that we can only see once we are separated after all. The enemy should think that if we are together, it will be dangerous for them. Right. They will make their move while we are separated. If we can endure it and survive, the throne will be within your reach. The kingdom should be able to recover in a year. The game will resume after my return. Don't get ahead before I come back, all right? I know. Let's take the throne together. I pour the wine on the table into 2 glasses. One for myself and another for Leo. And while looking at the moon, we made a toast. Chapter 450. Their departures. The imperial capital was wrapped in cheers. And at the center of those cheers is a couple. Long live His Highness Traugott. Long live Princess Marianne. The people are shouting Traugott and Marianne's names. They just held a grand wedding. Although this was a political marriage, the people of the imperial capital who were already tired from war after war very much enjoyed the festivities. There was a festival the day before the ceremony, one on the ceremony day, and another one the day after. After the 3 days festival, the two set out on a journey to the Dominion, and accompanying them was an imperial prince. Well, I'm heading out now. Yeah, have a safe trip. Just a brief farewell. This may not be the last time they see each other, but it will be the time that they have to be away from each other the longest. After all, the two have been together since they were born. Say hello to Letitia for me. Yeah. I hope you two have a grand wedding like this too. Right. That would be nice. The two looks at the carriage Traugott and Marianne are riding. They are waving at the people with a smile on their faces. Despite it being a political marriage, they seem happy. I'm sure it will come. A day like that. Let us create it together. That day. Yeah. Let's do it together. Nodding to Leo's words, all heads for his carriage. Escorting them are the Nabi Ritters. Since they have no imperial knights to spare, the Nabi Ritter was given the job to escort them to the Dominion. I'm counting on you, Commander Lars. Yes, sir. Please leave them to me. With a bow to Lars, the leader of the Nabi Ritter orders his men to depart. While watching that, tried to get into the carriage. But before that, Leo called out to him. Ni-san. Looking back, I saw the smiling Leo. Then. Take care. Yeah, you too. Thus, I'll set out for the Dominion. It seems you suffered quite a loss, didn't you? At the royal castle in the kingdom of Palan. Alone in his room, Crown Prince Lucian speaks. And answering him was a shadow. Haenti and Botis, I've lost 2 of my top executives. But thanks to that, you were able to deceive them, right? Yes. We shall continue to lurk in the dark. When the time comes, we will once again lend your highness our power. I'm looking forward to that. Are you able to replenish your pawns? Yes, but not immediately. Summoning demons is no easy task after all. I also have a kingdom to rebuild. Lucian shows an annoyed frown. Seeing him like that, the shadow apologizes to Lucian. My deepest apology. We ended up causing damage to your highness's land. It's not the damage that irritated me. It's my army. The influential people in my army still yearn for the saint. That's why we couldn't finish off the empire. Lucian had sent out a general in his camp to fight the empire, but he fell in combat with Leo. The main forces of the kingdom that can rival the empire and the United Kingdom's army were those who fought alongside the saint. If he couldn't mobilize them, then his victory is still out of sight. Do you have a plan to deal with them, your highness? The more impatient you are, the more likely that you will fail. There's no choice but to steadily get them to acknowledge me and unite them under my command. Then, what will your highness be doing during this time? Right. I will lay low for a while. But, I will make my move when the time comes. The sole ruler of this continent shall be my kingdom alone. Lucian expressed his ambition. The shadow reverently bowed to Lucian as it left his chamber. Then, after walking for a short time, the shadow turned into all kinds of creatures. Grand Duke, the preparation is ready. Good work. The surveillance around the kingdom should be strict for a while. We have to relocate. The person called the Grand Duke grinned. Although he has lost a couple of executives, it is but a cheap price to pay to get the SS-rank adventurers off his scent. Only convenient information was left behind at the bases they abandoned. The Adventurer Guild and the many nations of this continent should be satisfied with that and stop cooperating with each other. It will be easier for them to make their move again. Do not neglect to monitor the Empire. The Black Twin Princes may have always got in our way. They may be separated for the time being, but we still need to be wary of them. Shall I get rid of them, sir? Silver is always lurking at their side. Do not touch them. We still don't know who or what that mage is. Saying so, the Grand Duke shows his smile again. The loss didn't faze him because he knew that the 2 executives he lost would be destroyed by the humans sooner or later since they stood out too much. And once again, the Grand Duke became a shadow. Lying in wait for the coming day. He left. Yes. Imperial Sword Castle. Emperor Johannes spoke to himself on the upper floor of the castle. Next to him was Mitsuba. Seeing your children leave the nest shore gives you a strange feeling. I feel strange as well. As I thought, you are worried, right? Of course. I am a mother after all. Mitsuba said with a smile. When he saw that smile, Johannes also did the same. You don't look that worried though. I'm worried about myself. I'm anxious in fact. How long can I hold out? Will my health deteriorate? But saying them out loud won't make those problems go away. So if I think that my child will be okay, the smile would just naturally come to my face. Right. I guess that's true. If it's Johannes thinks that he should be able to easily handle the Dominion. The one he is more worried about was Traugott. Still, with at his side, he thinks that Traugott will be okay. On the surface, the battle between Eric and Leonard seems to be a stalemate. They are in a situation where both sides lack the ability to deal the final blow. But it is Eric who excels at internal affairs. That's right. Still, with the demons around, I cannot trust Eric. There is no guarantee that he will not turn out like Gordon and Xandra after all. That being said, Your Majesty must not push him away. Eric is still the #1 candidate for the throne after all. Yeah, that's why I need Leonard to surpass Eric. With my position, I cannot openly support him, but I can at least cheer him on. If you openly support him, then we will only have more pointless conflicts later. Your Majesty's feeling alone is enough. However, Mitsuba looked like she was thinking about something. Seeing that, Johannes asked, "However, what? Eric has always been a wise child. In that regard, he doesn't even lose to Wilhelm. I still can't understand why he doesn't make his move so far. He probably doesn't want to risk damaging his faction, right? Avoiding risking his faction has already become his biggest enemy. I don't think that Eric didn't anticipate this. I'm sure that he still has something left in store." "That's true. Your Majesty, please be careful. If Eric has a trump card, it will surely be one that hurts Your Majesty as well. I do not wish to say something naive when we are in the middle of the succession war, but I still want to see our children work together." "Don't worry. I wish for the same thing," Johannes said with a smile. However, Mitsuba knew. The Emperor was already prepared for his death. Still, he doesn't do anything to resist that fate. After all, he is an emperor. End of Volume 11.